Chapter 737. Yuan silently stood there even after Sebastian showed his will to fight. Do you really intend on fighting me? You're a spirit warrior, even weaker than these two. You won't win, and I don't want to hurt you since you're Chu Luxiang's butler, but that might not be possible if we fight. Yuan said to him. I also don't want to fight you, but I have been ordered to keep you away from the young lady. If you leave now, we won't need to fight. Sebastian said. And he continued. I am also well aware that I cannot beat you, but at least I can say that I tried to fulfill my mission. Yuan shook his head before tossing the individual in his grasp to the end of the room before facing Sebastian. Chu Luxiang. No, Lulu won't be happy if she learns that we'd fought each other. Are you sure you want to continue? Yuan slowly approached Sebastian. In response to Yuan's question, Sebastian suddenly rushed forward before launching a fist attack at Yuan. Huh. Yuan watched as Sebastian's fist slowly approached his face. Of course, Sebastian's movement was by no means slow, but in Yuan's view, it was barely moving. Right as Sebastian's fist reached his face, Yuan used one of his hands to block it. After blocking the attack with ease, Yuan tightened his grasp so that Sebastian couldn't run away. I'm sorry. Yuan suddenly opened his eyelids, revealing his beautiful eyes and its silver iris. Sebastian couldn't help but stare at Yuan's colorless eyes with a dazed face. However, Yuan's eyes suddenly changed colors, turning bright golden. The next moment, Sebastian suddenly realized that his vision had gone dark, yet his consciousness was clearly still awake. Sebastian started hearing a subtle yet domineering roar echoing within his head, and this noise gradually grew louder and louder. Once the noise reached its peak, a massive slit suddenly appeared before Sebastian, almost as though someone had cut the void with a sword. After seeing this beastly eye, Sebastian began to tremble uncontrollably while an intense sense of fear filled his mind. Sebastian's real body suddenly went limp after being exposed to Yuan's dragon's gaze for only a few seconds. Yuan closed his eyes when this happened, and he gently laid Sebastian's body onto the floor afterward. So I can use dragon's gaze even though I am still blind. Yuan thought to himself as he left the scene after making sure Sebastian was still alive and wasn't harmed too badly by the dragon's gaze. After what happened at the Jaded Garden, Yuan realized that he needed to learn more powerful techniques, so he tried to learn all of the techniques he knew from. However, he's already learned most of the weaker techniques from, leaving him with mostly extremely strong attacks. The heavenly splitting sword strike was simply too powerful for him to use in this world, and a single mistake could easily change the landscape. This left him with either Heavenly Domain or Dragon's Gaze, and he ended up trying to learn Dragon's Gaze because he was curious if he could use it despite being blind. As for the technique Relentless Dragon Overwhelms the Nine Heavens, he couldn't learn it at that time because he still hasn't learned the technique in Cultivation Online, but he already planned on learning it next. After trying for about 2 weeks, had managed to activate Dragon's Gaze. At least that's what he believed because his eyes had the same burning sensation that he felt whenever he used Dragon's Gaze in Cultivation Online. However, he couldn't test whether it truly works or not because he didn't want to use Dragon's Gaze on Meishio or the others, so he waited for the perfect moment to test out the Dragon's Gaze. And he found that moment with Sebastian, who he didn't want to physically harm, so he could only try using Dragon's Gaze on him to take him out of the fight mentally. Yuan wandered the Chu family's residence for the next couple of minutes, until he ran into someone, as he had no idea where to go in such a massive place. He eventually encountered a young maid, who was quietly dusting furniture in the hallway while humming to herself in a cheerful manner, seemingly in her own world and unaware of the chaos. Excuse me, do you know where I can find Chu Luxiang? Yuan asked her. Are you perhaps young Master Qin? I thought your visit was scheduled for next week. The young maid mistook Yuan as someone from the Qin family. The schedule changed. Yuan decided to play along with her. Is that so? Anyways, you should be able to find the young lady in her garden, she then said. The garden? Yuan raised his eyebrows. Oh, I'm sorry. This is your first time here, right? Please follow me. I will take you there. Thank you. Yuan nodded and began following this young maid. Yuan. He should be coming soon to take me away from this place just like had promised, right? I only hope that nobody gets hurt over this. She sighed. She turned to look at the beautiful woman that was silently cultivating on top of her immortal cave. Master, did my parents ask you to babysit me? Senior Chi responded without opening her eyes. No, I am here to deal with your little lover because your parents are expecting his presence soon. What? You're going to fight Yuan? You can't do that, Master. Chu Liuxiang exclaimed. Why not? Senior Chi asked in a calm voice. It's for your own good. Chu Liuxiang responded in a low voice. Senior Chi finally opened her eyes, and she turned to look at Chu Liuxiang with a narrowed gaze. You think I won't be able to defeat him? She asked in a cold voice. Chapter 738. It hasn't even been a year since I stopped beating you, and you have already forgotten what I am capable of. Want me to remind you? Senior Chi said as she stared daggers at Chu Liuxiang. That's not it, Master. I am well aware of your capabilities, but compared to Yuan, I don't want to call him a monster, but if you have seen what he's capable of, you'll understand my feelings. As if I'd lose to some 18-year-old, who only recently regained his ability to move. Senior Chi coldly snorted. But Master, you're not that much older than him yourself. And Yuan, he defeated a demon by himself. Chu Liuxiang said with a bittersweet smile. Wait, what did you just say? Senior Chi's face suddenly became serious. Why, you're only 25 years old, which isn't that much older than Yuan. Or am I wrong? Chu Liuxiang swallowed nervously when she saw how Senior Chi's expression changed, and she wondered if it was because she had mentioned her age. Not that. You said that Head defeated a demon by himself? I thought he merely assisted the 6 spiritual families? That's what they said. Senior Chi said. In order to keep Yuan away from the spotlight, the 6 spiritual families told the world that Yuan had only assisted them in defeating the demon. In truth, Yuan had defeated the demon by himself, but only very few individuals are aware of this fact. Oh right. The 6 spiritual families changed the story a bit to help Yuan since they knew he didn't like to be in the spotlight. But it's true. Yuan fought the demon from beginning to end by himself without any help. Chu Liuxiang revealed the truth. Are you okay, Master? I am. Just as Senior Chi opened her mouth, a loud voice suddenly resounded. Lulu, are you here? I am here to take you back as promised. Yuan's voice echoed in the garden. Yuan. Chu Liuxiang immediately stood up and looked around with an excited expression on her face. Yuan, I am here, she shouted back. And hearing Chu Liuxiang's voice respond, Yuan immediately rushed in the direction her voice came from. Huh? Yuan? He's not young Master Qin? The young maid stood there with a dazed look on her face when she realized that she'd screwed up. After standing there for a few moments, she turned around and ran away from the scene while silently praying to herself, hoping that nobody saw her together with Yuan. Lulu, are you okay? Are you hurt? Yuan immediately asked her. Chu Liuxiang vigorously shook her head out of excitement. No, I am okay. What about you? Are you hurt? What happened to my family? Well, I encountered your brother Chu Wuyang as well as his elder brother. And Sebastian. My brothers and Sebastian? Did something happen to them? Chu Liuxiang could sense Yuan's nervousness even though they were standing so far away from each other. They stood in my way, so I took them down. Yuan sighed. He took them down? You killed them? Chu Liuxiang's eyes widened with shock. And no. I merely knocked them unconscious. Yuan said, skipping some details, such as turning Chu Wuyang's face into a bloody mess and nearly breaking the elder brother's neck. I see. As long as Sebastian is alive, I won't complain. He might have tried to stop you, but it's not because he wanted to. I hope you'll forgive him. I don't care about the other 2. They have always been a pain to deal with. I couldn't care less even if they died. Chu Liuxiang said. I know. Sebastian is only doing his job. Yuan nodded. Ahem. Are you ignoring me on purpose? Senior Chi suddenly cleared her throat, interrupting their reunion. Who are you? Yuan quickly asked. My surname is Chi. Do you recognize it? Senior Chi suddenly asked him, almost as though she was expecting him to recognize her surname for some reason. No, I don't. Should I? Yuan said. Senior Qi turned silent for a moment. I heard from my disciple that you had defeated the demon from the Jaded Garden all by yourself. Is that true? She asked him a moment later. Disciple? So you're Lulu's master? Yuan was surprised to hear this. Answer my question. Did you defeat the demon by yourself? Senior Qi asked again, clearly anxious for an answer. So what if I did? How did you do it? Why do you care? Yuan found this Senior Qi's behavior to be very suspicious. Because I don't believe you. There's no way a nobody like you can defeat a demon. After all, they're indestructible. They are supreme beings that can only be sealed. Senior Qi exclaimed. Yuan was surprised by Senior Qi's knowledge regarding demons. It was almost as though she knew of their existence even before the incident at the Jaded Garden. Who are you? Why do you know so much about demons? It was now Yuan's turn to ask such questions. Senior Qi did not respond to his question. Instead, she lifted her hand and pointed her palm towards the immortal cave. The next moment, a sword flew out of the immortal cave and into her hands. Qi manipulation? She's a spirit grandmaster? Yuan was inwardly shocked when Senior Qi used Qi manipulation. If you defeat me, I will tell you what you want to know. But if I defeat you, you'll tell me everything you know, she said to him while pointing the sword at him in a provocative manner. Very well. Yuan nodded in agreement. Where's your weapon? I don't want to hear any excuses when you lose. Senior Qi then asked. Yuan didn't say anything and raised his arm until it was parallel to the ground. Senior Qi and Chu Liuxiang watched his movements with interest. A large sword that was as tall as Yuan himself suddenly appeared out of thin air the next moment and entered his grasp. The second Yuan tightened his grasp on the sword. His aura skyrocketed, and the sword began vibrating with excitement. That's his sword in cultivation online. How did he? Chu Liuxiang mumbled in a dazed voice when she recognized Yuan's sword, the Empyrean Overlord. Chapter 739. Published at 1st of February, 2022, 1:11 p.m. Chapter 739. 739 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 739. Sealed Get back, Liuxiang. You'll get in the way. Senior Qi said to Chu Liuxiang, who quickly retreated to the immortal cave. Are you ready? She asked Yuan. Whenever you are. He nodded. And without saying another word, Senior Qi rushed towards him, closing their distance almost immediately. Senior Qi swung her sword without using any techniques, only relying on her strength and powerful spiritual energy. Clang! However, Yuan blocked her attack with ease, and he only had one arm on the sword. Senior Qi raised one of her eyebrows in surprise before swinging her sword again with even more strength. Yuan was pushed back a little this time, but he still only needed one arm to defend against the attack. At least you're much stronger than the Chu brothers, Yuan said with a smile on his face. Don't get cocky. The fight is just beginning. The two of them began exchanging blows back and forth for the next few minutes. Let's see how you'll deal with this. The way Senior Qi moved her hands resembled how array masters create arrays, and Yuan wondered if she was going to use arrays. Seal! Senior Qi suddenly shouted. What the? Yuan blurted out when his body suddenly stopped moving. I cannot move. No. It feels more like I am being restricted by invisible chains. What kind of technique is this? Yuan wondered to himself, even admiring the technique a little. How do you like my family's secret technique? It's not really effective on humans since it was never meant to be used on them. But this much strength is more than enough to restrict anyone, even a talented spirit master like you. Why, Yuan? Your legs. They're turning into stone. Chu Liuxiang's voice suddenly resounded, and it was filled with distress. What? Yuan looked at his legs after hearing Chu Liuxiang's words, and sure enough, his legs had turned into stone. This technique. Yuan was baffled when he saw the petrifying effects, as it was almost the same as his demon sealing techniques. You know demon sealing techniques? Wanting to confirm his suspicions, he decided to ask her. You want me to answer your questions? You'll have to defeat me. However, it doesn't appear that you have defeated me, so I won't tell you anything. Senior Chi said with a smirk on her face. Clearly, she wanted to get back at him for refusing to answer her questions before. Don't think you have already won just because I cannot move. Despite my situation, I can still defeat you whenever I want. Yuan said to her. Is that so? Senior Chi casually walked up to his face and said, and how are you going to do that when half of your body has turned into stone? By now, the petrifying effect had spread all the way to his chest. If you don't hurry up and surrender, your entire body will turn into stone, and when that happens, even I cannot revert the damages. That means you'll turn into a stone statue forever. What? That's dangerous, master. Hurry up and release him. Chu Liuxiang exclaimed after hearing Senior Chi's words. However, Yuan remained calm and said, I will win this fight. I don't know where you're getting your confidence, but do you even understand your situation right now? You cannot even lift a finger, much less defeat me. In response to her words, Yuan merely stood there with a calm smile on his face, allowing the petrifying effect to slowly consume his body. Not that he could move his body. When the effect reached his neck, Senior Chi frowned and said to him, do you really intend on dying in such a manner? Is your pride really so valuable that you'd give your life away for it? Being sealed is a fate that's worse than death, you know? Even after your body has completely turned into stone, your body won't immediately die, which means that you'll still be alive until you die of natural causes. When you're sealed, you won't feel hunger or thirst, and your internal organs will be supported by the spiritual energy your body naturally gathers, allowing you to live for many months, even years without any problems. Do you really want to spend the rest of your life in such a miserable state? Hurry up and surrender. Senior Chi tried to convince him to give up. However, Yuan remained silent. Visit Readle.me for extra chapters. If you think I am going to free you at the last second so that I won't kill you, then you're overestimating me. I will really let your entire body turn into stone. Don't test me. Senior Chi added. Don't worry, I don't have such thoughts. Yuan said, still with a calm smile on his face. Yuan, what are you doing? What am I going to do if you're sealed forever? Life isn't worth living if you're not here with me. Chu Liuxiang shouted at him with tears flowing down her face. Believe me, Lulu. I won't lose. I promise you that I will defeat her and take you back to the family with me. Yuan said. You better. A few more moments later, Yuan's entire body became stone, turning into a stone statue and looking exactly like the sealed demon in the jaded garden. However, even after being sealed, Yuan still had a smile on his face. This crazy bastard. He really allowed himself to become sealed. I have never met a madman like him before. Senior Chi stared at Yuan's stone face with a dazed expression on her face. Master, if anything happens to him, I will never forgive you, Chu Liuxiang said to her with a deep frown. Senior Chi looked at her and sighed. Calm down. I can make him normal again, even though he's fully sealed. I only said that I couldn't just to scare him. In fact, since this technique isn't meant for humans, he will automatically break out of that state in a few days. However, since he dared to defy me, I am going to let him suffer for a few days. Really? Chu Liuxiang mumbled with a dumbfounded look on her face. You really think I am that cruel of a person? Not that, master. I meant the few days part. It's only been a few moments, and there are already cracks on him. Chu Liuxiang pointed at Yuan. What? That's impossible. Senior Chi frowned before turning to look at Yuan. Impossible. Senior Chi muttered in a shocked voice when she saw that Yuan's seal was really weakening with cracks already. However, she couldn't comprehend how that was possible. Even if he's a spirit master, he shouldn't be able to break out of my seal this quickly. The only way this is possible is if he knows how the technique works. Did he really defeat the demon by himself? But that's even more absurd. The stone on Yuan's face suddenly began falling off, revealing his soft skin once again. When I first encountered the demon at the Jaded Garden, I wondered if there would be any families in this world that could deal with them like the demon sealing clan inside Cultivation Online. Since you can also use demon sealing techniques, I can only assume that you guys actually exist. Or am I wrong? Yuan turned to look at Senior Qi, who stood there with a baffled face. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 740. Published at 8th of February, 2022, 6:01 and 30 seconds p.m. Chapter 740. Chapter 740. Qi family. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 740. Qi family. Who are you really? If you belong to one of us, I should recognize you. However, I don't know you. Senior Qi narrowed her eyes on him. I'm afraid that I cannot answer your question since you haven't defeated me yet. Yuan suddenly pointed his sword at Senior Qi before mumbling in a low voice. Seal. What? Senior Qi's eyes widened with shock when she suddenly lost control over her bodice movements. I am possible. He also knows our technique. Not only did Yuan know her technique, it also appeared to be much stronger than her own, judging by how much quicker the petrifying effect was affecting her body. In just a few seconds, half of Senior Qi's body had turned into stone. However, Senior Qi wasn't panicking. She even showed a confident smile and said, I'm surprised. To think you knew so much about demon sealing clans, and even our techniques. However, you should know that demon sealing techniques do not have any effect on humans. Even if I don't do anything, I will be able to break free from the seal after a few days. If I try, I can break out of it within seconds just like you did. Then let's make a bet. I will give you 10 minutes to break out of the seal. If you cannot do it, then it's my victory, and you will have to admit defeat. Yuan suddenly suggested. 10 minutes? Ha ha ha. I only need 1 minute to break your seal. Senior Qi laughed out loud. I will see you in a minute. Senior Qi glared at Yuan until her entire body turned into stone. Chu Liuxiang approached Yuan and asked, do you think she will break out of the seal in a minute? You managed to break out of her seal in just a few seconds, after all. Who knows? Yuan shrugged. You don't know? Then why did you make a bet with her, even giving her 10 whole minutes? That's not something you do if you're not confident in your own abilities. Chu Liuxiang stared at him with a slightly dumbfounded face. I am confident, but that doesn't really mean anything. Let's just wait and see then. Chu Liuxiang said, and they proceeded to wait for Senior Qi to break the seal. 1 minute later. She's late. It's been longer than a minute. Does this mean you win? Chu Liuxiang said. I guess so, but let's give her the full 10 minutes. Chu Liuxiang nodded, and they continued to wait. 10 minutes later. I really hope she's still alive. Chu Liuxiang said in a low voice. She's definitely still alive. I can sense her spiritual energy, and she is still trying to break through the seal even as we speak. Yuan said. What now? Are you going to release the seal? To Chu Liuxiang's surprise, Yuan shook his head. No, I will let her suffer a little more. This is what she gets for being so arrogant, and she also wanted to stop me from taking you home. Master does have the tendency to act arrogantly from time to time, but she's not a bad person. She taught me many things ever since I came to the Chu family. I even think of her as an elder sister. All right, I will reduce a few hours from her punishment. Yuan said with a smile. Chu Liuxiang also chuckled. Chu Liuxiang. A cold voice suddenly resounded behind them. When Chu Liuxiang turned around, she could see her parents standing in the distance with many of their guards following behind them. Stay behind me, Yuan said as he stood in between her and the Chu family. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Where is Senior Qi? I asked her to deal with that bastard. Chu Shijian shouted in an angry voice. Dear. Look behind them. Chu Shufan pointed at the stone statue behind Yuan and Chu Liuxiang. Why, you bastard? What have you done to her? Do you have any idea who she is? If you harmed even a single hair on her body, you're a dead man. Chu Shijian roared in a deafening tone. I don't know her, but as you can see for yourself, it's a little too late for that kind of talk. However, you can't blame me. You can only blame yourself, your Chu family, for making me come here. Yuan said with a cold expression on his face. It's over. You have no idea what you've just done. The Qi family will kill all of us once they learn that she had died while within our territory. Chu Shijian mumbled in a fearful voice. The Chu family is one of the biggest families in the world, but that doesn't mean they are fearless. The Qi family is a secret powerhouse that has lived in seclusion for even longer than the 6 spiritual families, and they are one of very few powers that can make the Chu family tremble in fear. Yuan raised his eyebrows. Is the Qi family really that powerful? I guess it makes sense for them to be so powerful since they have to fight demons and all. Yuan thought to himself. The relationship between our families was reaching its peak. They even sent over the most talented genius in their family to our family as a sign of their trust, but you had to ruin everything. Chu Shijian's eyes were bloodshot as of this moment. I didn't plan on killing you even after learning about what you have done to my 2 sons, but I must avenge Senior Qi by taking your life. Hopefully, the Qi family won't kill all of us with your sacrifice. Chu Shijian pointed at Yuan and shouted, Bring me his head. The guards behind him immediately rushed forward and surrounded Yuan and Chu Liuxiang. Father. Please wait. There is something. Shut up. If you don't want to die with him, get away from him. Chu Shijian shouted. Senior Qi came here and took you in as her disciple, yet you allowed her to be killed just like that. Even if I don't punish you later, the Qi family will definitely do so. It's all right, Lulu. Stand back. I will handle this. Yuan said to her with a smile. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 741. Published at 8th of February, 2022, 6:01 and 29 seconds p.m. Chapter 741. Chapter 741. Fighting the Chu family. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 741. Fighting the Chu family. But this is all just a misunderstanding. If we let my father know that Senior Qi is actually... No, don't tell him. I have been wondering how I should deal with your parents. This shall be their punishment. Yuan said. Chu Liuxiang looked at him with wide eyes, but she couldn't refute him for some reason. Okay. Try not to get hurt. Chu Liuxiang said to him before leaving his side. The guards there allowed Chu Liuxiang to leave their encirclement without any trouble. Yuan scanned the guards there with his divine sense. Mostly spirit warriors with only 2 spirit masters. I don't need my weapon for this. Not wanting to accidentally kill these people, Yuan stowed the Empyrean overlord. This bastard is underestimating us. The guards there were provoked by Yuan's action, even though that wasn't his intention. Get him. There's no need to hold back since the patriarch has asked for his head. The guards began rushing at Yuan the next moment. Seeing this, Yuan used his movement technique to maneuver around them. And because there were so many of them, it actually gave Yuan an advantage, allowing him to confuse them easier. Where did he go? He's right behind you. No, he's over here. Hey, what the? How is he moving this fast? He's not human. The guards were shocked when they realized that they couldn't even follow his movements, much less touch him. Gak. Fuck. Yuan began knocking out these guards one by one, rendering over half of the guards unconscious in mere minutes. Sometime later, after defeating all of the guards, Yuan turned to face Chu Shijian, who was trembling with anger. Are you going to try and kill me next? Yuan asked him in a calm voice. Chu Shijian gritted his teeth. If someone like Senior Qi lost to Yuan, there was no way for him to defeat Yuan. Chu Shufan suddenly tapped his shoulders and said, Let's get him together. All right. Watch my back. Chu Shijian nodded. Once they were prepared, Chu Shijian and his wife began their attack on Yuan. Taste my force of hell. Chu Shijian's fists suddenly became engulfed in red flames as they flew toward Yuan's face. What a powerful technique. Yuan thought to himself as he used his movement technique to dodge the attack. Chu Shijian's fist exploded with fire right after Yuan dodged it. However, right as Yuan dodged the attack, He noticed that Chu Shufan was already behind him, almost as though she had predicted his movements. Chu Shufan was also in a kicking motion, and before Yuan could react, he was sent flying by Chu Shufan's powerful kick. Yuan. Chu Liuxiang immediately grew nervous. I'm fine. I didn't expect her to read my movement technique, Yuan said as he stood back up without any injuries. How the hell is he still standing after eating my kick like that? That kick had enough force to shatter boulders and bend thick steel. Even if it couldn't kill him, it should have rendered him immobilized. Yet he stood up so casually. Chu Shufan appeared to be even more surprised than Yuan from that exchange. If one isn't enough to take him down, give him a few more. Let's do it. Chu Shijian said, and they went for another attack. While Chu Shijian rushed forward, Chu Shufan stayed behind to watch Yuan, so that she could read his movement again. If you think I am vulnerable, then you've just made a poor judgment. Chu Shufan didn't even try to run away, and decided to face Yuan head-on. Chu Shufan's aura suddenly skyrocketed right before she threw a punch at Yuan. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. However, Yuan wasn't even close enough to be hit by her fist. Despite that, Yuan suddenly stopped running at her and dodged to the side. Whoosh! An invisible force flew right past Yuan after he dodged. Qi manipulation? Yuan frowned when he saw how similar it felt to qi manipulation. No, Lulu also did the same thing before. If I recall correctly, it's called spiritual control. How dare you ignore me? Your head is mine. Chu Shijian had a hidden dagger in his grasp as he went for Yuan's neck. As if I'd fall for the same trick twice. Yuan saw Chu Shijian coming from a mile away because of his divine sense, and he used his movement technique to dodge the strike. Hey, what a fucking annoying movement technique. Chu Shijian cursed out loud after failing for the second time to kill Yuan. So you're seriously trying to kill me, huh? Yuan sighed out loud. If he didn't dodge the attack just now, Chu Shijian would have definitely taken his head. As for Chu Shufan, her attack would have also killed him if his body wasn't so strong. Since you're trying to kill me, don't blame me for doing the same. Yuan suddenly opened his eyes and activated Dragon's Gaze, stunning both Chu Shijian and Chu Shufan at the same time. And while they were stunned, he slowly approached them. Since they were no longer capable of fighting, Yuan could do as he pleased with them. Are you really going to kill them? Chu Liuxiang asked him with a nervous look on her face. Do you want me to? Yuan asked her in return. Of course not. Although they may have wronged me this time, it is also true that they have cared for me for the last decade. And I don't want to see you killing people. At least not in the real world. Chu Liuxiang sighed. Yuan smiled. Don't worry, I never planned on killing them. I gain nothing by becoming a murderer. Then what are you going to do to them? Although I won't kill them, I won't forgive them so easily either. Yuan said as he continued to approach Chu Shijian, who was kneeling on the ground with a soulless look on his face. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 742. Published at 8th of February, 2022, 6:01 and 28 seconds p.m. Chapter 742. Chapter 742. Punishment if audio player doesn't work. Press stop then play button again. Chapter 742. Punishment. Once Yuan was standing in front of Chu Shijian, he took a deep breath before speaking in a slow but clear voice. Despite all the things you have done, despite my urges, I won't kill you. However, it is a fact that you tried to kill me today. And to make sure that you won't attack me again in the future, I will end your life, as a cultivator. Chu Shijian snapped out of his daze when he heard Yuan's words, but before he could open his mouth and utter a single word, Yuan swung his arm and punched Chu Shijian square in the stomach, shattering his dantian. Cough. Chu Shijian coughed up a mouthful of blood afterward. No. Not my cultivation. A horrified look appeared on Chu Shijian's face when he could feel his spiritual energy leaving his dantian, before leaving from the pores on his body. What have you done? Chu Shijian snapped at Yuan with a furious face. How dare you cripple my cultivation? Do you have any idea how much time, effort, and money I have sacrificed to reach that point? Without my cultivation, the Chu family will be doomed. And this is all your fault. You were prepared to take my life, so I took away your cultivation in return. It's a fair trade if you ask me. At least you get to keep your life. Yuan said. Don't fuck with me. I'd rather you kill me now than live the life of a mortal. Yuan shook his head and said, if you want to die, that's your decision. I already made my decision. Tears began flowing from Chu Shijian's face. Chu Liuxiang swallowed nervously when she saw this scene, as this is her first time seeing Chu Shijian shed such sorrowful tears. Yuan ignored Chu Shijian and turned his focus to Chu Shufan next. When Chu Shijian realized what Yuan was about to do, he stood up and shouted, Why, you bastard! You're not satisfied with ruining my life, so you're going to ruin my wife's life as well. Hearing his words, Yuan calmly responded, It wouldn't be fair if I only took your cultivation and not hers. Furthermore, she also tried to kill me. It only makes sense for me to take her cultivation as well. I swear to God, if you dare hurt even a single hair on her body, I will do whatever it takes to make your life miserable before taking your life. You might think that you have defeated the Chu family because you took away my cultivation, but we still have many resources at our disposal, and it will all be used to dispose of you. The place turned dead silent for a good moment until Chu Liuxiang spoke. Yuan, I think you have already punished them enough. Although I wouldn't mind fighting the entire world with you, I cannot say the same about the others. Think about Meishio and the others that will be dragged into this mess if you continue. Father, I will leave the Chu family after today. I wish that I could have left the family in a better manner, but what's done is already done. And despite what happened between us, I don't hate you or the Chu family. In fact, I am feeling grateful to you and the family. After all, you gave me a chance to experience what it feels like to have a family even if it is not an ordinary family. Now that I am old enough to have my own family, I am going to start one with the person I love, Yuan. After a moment of silence, Chu Liuxiang looked at Senior Qi, who was still sealed, and said, As for Master, Senior Qi is still alive. You can ask her to explain everything to you once she breaks out of that seal in a few days. Chu Liuxiang suddenly went to Yuan and grabbed his hand before mumbling to him. Let's go home now, shall we? I don't want us to miss Mixius' breakfast. Hearing her words, Yuan could only nod his head. Okay. Chu Liuxiang and Yuan left the scene shortly after, leaving the Chu family in havoc. Are you okay? Chu Liuxiang asked Yuan as they walked home together. Yes, I am not hurt. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I am not talking about your body, you silly. You did some incredible things today, things that I didn't know you were capable of. If you want to talk about it, I will always be here to listen. I guess I was acting a little different today. I don't know why, but I felt incredibly angry today. Yet it wasn't the type of anger that I am used to. Maybe I had released some of my built-up anger for my own family on the Chu family. And he continued, But it's okay. I will be fine since everything has ended now. However, Chu Liuxiang shook her head with a bitter smile, and she sighed. Unfortunately, things are not over yet, as much as I want it to be. Huh? What do you mean? Do you think the Chu family will take revenge in the future? Yuan asked her. Yes, but I am not talking about my parents, about Chu Shijian and Chu Shufan. I don't know if I told you this before or not, but my father has multiple wives, and they all control a small portion of the Chu family in other places. The Chu family is simply too big for my father to manage alone, so he made his other wives assist him in managing the family. Although we didn't see any of them today beside my father's main wife, things would have played out very differently if they were there. With that being said, there's a good chance that they'll retaliate because of what you did today. Also, there's more. Yuan was speechless. Of course. Have you forgotten about the Dragon Spiral Mountain? We should start looking for a new place to stay when we get back, because we will most likely be evicted for our actions today. Aya. Yuan sighed out loud. Even though I don't mind moving, it kind of hurts that we have to move so soon after moving to this place, Not to mention the amount of money we had spent to live here. I will have to apologize to the others once we get back. They also paid for the house, after all. I'm sure they'll understand. Chu Liuxiang smiled. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 743. Published at 8th of February, 2022, 6:01 and 27 seconds p.m. Chapter 743. Chapter 743. Preparing to move again. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 743. Preparing to move again. By the time Yuan and Chu Liuxiang returned home, everyone except Meishio was already seated at the dining table. Ha! Yuan, where have you been? Meishio went to look for you in your room just now, Wang Ming said to him when they returned. Sorry, I had some business at the Chu family. Yuan said to them. Oh, go find Meishio. You guys can eat first. Yuan and Chu Liuxiang went back to his room to find Meishio knocking on their door. There's no need to knock. We're here, Yuan said to her. Huh. Meishio turned around to see them standing behind her, and Yuan looked a little messy, almost as though had been in a fight recently. What happened to you? She asked. I went to the Chu family to bring her back. Yuan pointed at Chu Liuxiang, who had a bashful smile on her face. It's a little embarrassing, but I had some trouble at home, and Yuan came to save me, she said. Well, breakfast is prepared. Meishio didn't know what else to say. Yuan nodded. I will tell you guys about it at the dining table. Let me change my clothes first. Me too. Okay. While Meishio returned to the others, Yuan and Chu Liuxiang changed their clothes before making their way back to the dining room. Everybody there could tell that something was on Yuan's mind when they saw his expression, but nobody said a word until after breakfast was finished. If you have something to say it already. Li Jinsi was the first to speak out. Yuan sighed before nodding his head. All right. This might be a lot, but it's important. Today, I went to the Chu family and kind of fought them. You what? Wang Ming exclaimed. They were going to take Lulu away from us and force her to marry some family she doesn't want to be with, so I went there to take her back by force. I fought her parents and crippled her father's cultivation before bringing her back, and because of my actions, there's a good chance that we're going to get evicted from the mountain soon. The entire place turned dead silent as everyone in the room stared at him with gawking faces. Wait. Why don't you start from the beginning and slow down? Lang said. Of course, everyone there was shocked by what they heard. None of them could have expected Yuan to invade the Chu family by himself while they were all sleeping. Yuan, although I am confident in your abilities, nor am I upset that we might be evicted, you should have at least told us that you were going to raid one of the biggest cultivation families in this world. Wang Ming rubbed his temples. The Chu family and the 6 spiritual families have always been on bad terms since forever. They like to live in the spotlight while we prefer living in the shadows. I was really surprised when I found out that Miss Chu was actually from the Chu family. However, now that we belong to the same faction, we have a responsibility to protect each other, so I would have helped you fight the Chu family if you asked. I have to agree with Wang Ming on this one, Yuan. You should have at least told us before doing something so dangerous by yourself. Meishio sighed. I know, but I didn't want to worry you guys. That's not good enough, Yuan. As fellow members of the same faction, we need to share the burden together. That's what separates the good factions from the ordinary ones. Wang Ming said. Although it's already in the past, you need to tell us in advance if you do something crazy again in the future. Wang Bingbing said. All right, I will let you all know next time. Good. Now what? Should we begin packing since we're going to be moving soon? Wang Ming asked a moment later. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I mean, we don't know if we're really going to be evicted or not. Lang said. Are you kidding me? Yuan invaded the Chu family that lives in the upper levels of the mountain. He violated many rules today. It would be a miracle if we don't get kicked out of the mountain. Hell, I am expecting a very expensive compensation fee as well. Wang Ming's right. I violated multiple rules today. The manager will probably visit us by the end of the day to kick us out. Let's pack our stuff and prepare to move out. Yuan said. As for our next home, we'll figure that out afterward. Once again, I am sorry for the trouble. I know we have spent a lot of money to buy this place, so I am going to pay you all back. Nah, you don't have to worry about it. The money was our parents' anyway. Also, it's not like we disapprove of your actions today. We would have even supported you if we knew about it earlier. Wang Ming said. Let's not forget about the heaven-rank techniques we received from you. Those are already worth more than this place. Shirlang smiled. What heaven-rank techniques? Wu Zhao asked, as he wasn't at the myriad of techniques with them. We all got a heaven-rank technique from Yuan when we ascended. Wang Ming said. What? You should have told me. I would have ascended sooner if that was the case. Wu Zhao exclaimed. Yuan, I am going to ascend right after we find a new home. Me too, Shimorong said. Okay. Yuan nodded. Everybody returned to their own rooms shortly after and began packing their luggage. Why Yuan? She's here. The manager. Wang Ming went to alert him of the manager's presence. Let's go. Yuan quickly followed Wang Ming to the front of the house. Yuan swallowed nervously when he saw the cold expression on the manager's beautiful face. Good evening, manager. Yuan greeted her with a stiff smile. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 744. Published at 8th of February, 2022, 6:01 and 26 seconds p.m. Chapter 744. Chapter 744. Did you or did you not? If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 744. Did you or did you not? Let's sit down before we have our conversation. The manager ignored his greetings and spoke in a cold voice. Yuan sighed inwardly. He expected this would happen, and he didn't blame the manager for being mad at him for the mess had caused. Yuan led the manager to another room shortly after. However, when the others tried to enter the room with them, the manager stopped them and said, I only need to speak with him. Can you guys wait for me outside? Yuan said to them with a bittersweet smile. Gee, good luck. Wang Ming said to him before leaving them alone. Wang Ming then went to notify the other members of the manager's arrival. She's really here, huh? Do you think she's going to evict us? Who knows? Maybe Yuan will be able to persuade her somehow. Let's play a game and guess the result. While the others played their guessing game, Yuan sat in front of the manager with a nervous look on his face. He didn't feel this nervous even when facing the Chu family, but before this manager, he was completely different. I will be asking you a few questions now. You will answer them with either did or did not. I don't want to hear anything else, not even your explanation. Do you understand? I understand. The manager retrieved a long piece of paper and proceeded to ask, did you or did you not enter the Chu family's territory without permission today? I did. Did you or did you not force your way into their residence today? I did. Did you or did you not beat up Chu Weiyang today? I did. Did you or did you not? The manager continued to confirm everything that he's done today. Did you or did you not cripple Chu Shijian's cultivation today? I did. Yuan could only repeat these two words for the past few minutes, as there was not a single thing that he did not do. Once the questioning ended, the manager neatly folded her paper and proceeded to stare at him with a cold gaze. How long has it been since you moved into the mountain? She asked him. A few weeks now, I guess. So in just a few weeks, you have managed to break almost every rule in the mountain, and it was all done in the same day. This is an unprecedented case. I have never seen someone cause so much trouble in a single day, nor have I seen anyone cause as much trouble as you in the Dragon Spiral Mountain. Sorry, but are you not going to ask me why I did what I did? Yuan asked her. I don't care about that. Regardless of who's right or wrong, If you have any problems with another resident in the Dragon Spiral Mountain, you contact me. Now what do you think I should do with you? Since I broke the rules, I won't complain even if you decide to evict us. Yuan said with a resolved face, almost as though had accepted his fate. Indeed, you would be evicted under normal circumstances. The manager quickly said. Under normal circumstances? Yuan raised his eyebrows at her odd choice of words. Is this not a normal circumstance? The manager narrowed her eyes and said. First of all, I would evict you without hesitation if I could. Second, I am only a manager. Lastly, the one who makes the final decisions is the Lord of the Mountain. So the Lord has decided not to evict us? Yuan couldn't help but feel a little hopeful for his situation. That is not entirely correct. The Lord has decided to not evict you guys, but it is only temporary. He has a request for you, and your faction. If you help him with this request, he will not only allow you to continue living on his mountain, he will even forgive you for today. Visit Me for extra chapters. Really? That's great. What does he need from us? I don't know. You'll have to speak with him yourself and find out, she said. Speak with him? So I get to meet with the Lord? Yuan did not expect this development at all. Yes, I will meet you in the front tomorrow morning after sunrise. Don't be late, or I will evict you guys even if I get punished by the Lord. I won't be late. I promise. Yuan exclaimed. Then I will see you tomorrow. The manager stood up and left the place shortly after without saying anything else. What happened? Are we evicted? Wang Ming and the others asked him after she left. No, we're not evicted yet. Yes. I won this bet. Shi Lang exclaimed before Yuan could even finish his sentence. Really? We're not evicted? Even though you broke all those rules? Wang Ming was in disbelief. He was sure that they would get evicted. Let me finish. Although we're not evicted for now, we can still be evicted. However, the Lord has a request for us, and if we help him fulfill it, he will allow us to continue living here. The Lord of the Mountain? He's a very powerful man since he owns this place, right? If there's something even he cannot do, this request might be very troublesome. Wang Bingbing said. What does he need us to do? Wang Ming then asked. I don't know yet. I will be meeting with the Lord tomorrow for more information. You're going to meet with the Lord? Chu Liuxiang was shocked to hear this. The Lord of the Dragon Spiral Mountain is so mysterious that nobody besides the manager knows his appearance. Although there have been people that met with him before, they were still unable to see his appearance and have only heard his voice. I can't believe you're already getting to meet the Lord when most people that have lived here for decades don't. Chu Liuxiang said in a dumbfounded voice. Well, whatever the Lord wants from us, keep us updated. Wang Ming said. I will. Yuan nodded. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 745. Published at 8th of February 2022, 6:01 and 25 seconds p.m. Chapter 745. Chapter 745. Indecent Thoughts. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 745. Indecent Thoughts. Good night, darling. Chu Liuxiang snuggled beside Yuan when it was time to sleep. Night. After a moment of silence, Chu Liuxiang spoke again. Can I embrace you while I sleep tonight? Of course. Thank you. Chu Liuxiang wrapped her arms around him and closed her eyes. Despite her urges to strip naked and procreate with Yuan, she did not want to ruin the peaceful moment right now. Furthermore, now that she is no longer with the Chu family, she does not have to rush to make a family with him. Of course, that is not to say her desire to make a family has lowered. In fact, her desire to make a family with Yuan is now more intense than ever after what had done for her today. However, now that she has the time to build a relationship with him properly, she wants to take things slowly and more naturally, which wasn't possible before when she was restricted by the Chu family. Chu Liuxiang quickly fell asleep while hugging Yuan. but Yuan himself was having trouble sleeping. Why is my body reacting like this now? Yuan sighed inwardly as he could feel the area between his legs getting hotter and hotter. Is it because of Lulu? But this hasn't happened before. In this dead silent room, Yuan's sense of smell and touch increased, and with Chu Liuxiang so close to him, he could only focus on her soft body and sweet body aroma. Due to circumstances in the Yu family that forced him to live like a slave, he never had the proper chance to grow up, nor did they teach him anything about puberty. However, now that he's away from the Yu family and is living life normally, his halted growth is finally showing signs of progression. One can say that Yuan is currently going through puberty, and it is progressing faster than normal due to his incarnation's memories, not to mention the fact that he is always surrounded by beautiful women that could easily trigger men's beastly nature. After doing that thing with Meishio, my mind cannot help but have weird thoughts that I never had before. Am I going crazy? Even now, Yuan has this strong desire to touch Chu Luxiang's body for some reason, as well as wanting to do it with her, but he cannot comprehend why he was having such inappropriate thoughts. The sensation of Chu Luxiang's soft skin, the sweet smell her body was emitting. Yuan's urge to touch Chu Liuxiang grew with every second. Fortunately, he has mastered self-control after enduring so much bullshit from the Yu family, allowing him to resist his urges. If it was anybody else in his shoes right now, they would have long submitted to their urges and acted upon his desires. He also tried to cultivate to calm down, but he was unable to clear his mind, so he had to stop. Eventually, Yuan gave up and had to spend the entire night controlling his urges. And just when he was beginning to fall asleep, the digital clock's alarm began beeping, signaling that it was almost sunrise. Is it already morning? I had such a good sleep that it felt so short. How was your sleep? Chu Liuxiang woke up shortly after the alarm, but it was not the noise that woke her up. It was because Yuan had to get out of her embrace to leave the bed. I couldn't sleep, Yuan said with a bittersweet smile. Is it because of what happened yesterday? Don't think too much about it. You did nothing wrong, she said. Although I had a lot of things on my mind that prevented me from sleeping, it wasn't because of what happened yesterday. He shook his head. Oh, then what was on your mind? Chu Liuxiang looked at him with her interest piqued. Don't worry about it. It was mostly random stuff about cultivation online. Yuan did not hesitate to lie. After all, he couldn't tell her that had spent all night trying to resist his urges to touch her. That would definitely weird her out and make him sound like a weirdo. Even if it's insignificant, I want to hear about it. Chu Liuxiang insisted. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Yuan silently faced Chu Liuxiang for a moment, before suddenly speaking in a surprised voice. Oh, look at the time. I need to hurry up or I will be late to meet the Lord. See you later, Lulu. Yuan quickly changed out of his pajamas before rushing out of the room, leaving Chu Liuxiang speechless. Why is he acting so weird? She mumbled to herself before going back to sleep. Many minutes later, Yuan noticed the manager's presence and immediately used divine sense for confirmation. Good morning, manager. Yuan greeted her with a respectful bow. Let's go. The Lord is waiting for you, she said to him before turning around and walking back without stopping. Yuan immediately followed behind her. As they walked to the upper levels, they walked past the Chu family's gates, which gave off a different feeling than yesterday. About an hour later, they arrived at the peak of the mountain, and to Yuan's surprise, there was a thick fog before him that could not be seen even at the upper levels, almost as though this fog had mysteriously appeared the moment they reached the peak. We're almost there. Follow closely behind me, or you'll get lost in the clouds, the manager said before walking into the fog that turned out to be clouds. Clouds? Is the mountain even tall enough to reach the clouds? Yuan wondered to himself since he didn't recall the mountain being this tall, and he followed right behind the manager. Upon entering the fog, Yuan sensed a sudden change in the atmosphere, and this sensation gave him a nostalgic feeling for some reason. What is this feeling? It's like I have been here before, Yuan thought to himself as he continued to follow the manager. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 746. Published at 6th of February, 2022, 7:57 and 29 seconds p.m. Chapter 746. 746 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 746. Lord of the Dragon Spiral Mountain. Why are you just standing there and looking around? There's nothing to see here. How dare you make the Lord wait for you? The manager said to him with a frown on her face. Coming. Yuan stopped looking around and picked up his pace. After walking on this cloudy path for about 10 more minutes, they arrived at the peak of the mountain. The peak of the mountain was surprisingly flat, almost as though someone had cut it with a sword. However, there was a small hill with a cave located in the middle of the mountain, which looked very awkward and out of place, almost like it didn't originally belong there, and that someone had moved it there. Where's the Lord? I don't see him here, Yuan said after realizing that the peak of the mountain was empty. He's resting inside the cave over there. Stand in front of it, but do not go inside, unless you don't care about your insignificant life, she said. Yuan swallowed nervously before approaching the mountain, and standing right before it. However, he was unable to see anything, almost as though there was something interfering with his divine sense. Save your energy. You won't be able to penetrate this cave with your divine sense. A deep voice suddenly resounded from within the cave. Yuan's body shook when he heard this voice that was filled with spiritual energy. This Lord is definitely an expert. His voice alone carries an abundant amount of spiritual energy. Even Xiao Hua does not have such powerful spiritual energy. But how is that possible? Spirit Master is already considered the peak for this world. But there could be a couple of hidden spirit grandmasters in this world such as Lulu's master. However, Xiao Hua is a spirit king. There's no way someone in our world could surpass that realm. Yuan was greatly shocked and interested at the same time, and his curiosity for this lord has reached its peak. Anyways, I heard you attacked the Chu family. You're very daring for a mere spirit master. The lord's voice continued. I had good reasons, said Yuan. I don't care about your reasons, nor do I care that you'd attack the Chu family. I only care about one thing, obeying the rules of the mountain. However, you have ignored my rules and acted on your own accord. What do you have to say for yourself? I have no excuses, Yuan said with a straight face. Not even going to put up a fight? How boring. I know what I did was wrong, but I have no regrets. If I had to do it all over again to help my friend, I would not hesitate, even if it means getting evicted from the mountain. There are plenty of other places we can live in this world, after all. The Lord remained silent for a good minute before speaking again. Do you know why I called you here today? You have a request for us, right? If we do it, you'll forgive me for invading the Chu family, Yuan said. Yes, that's right. However, that's an easy question. Let's make the next one a little harder. Now try answering this. Do you know why I allowed you to live on my mountain in the first place? Yuan raised his eyebrows at such a question. You're aware that only those that have received my approval can enter this mountain, right? In other words, I picked you. Do you know why I picked you? After pondering for a moment, Yuan responded, because I am Player Yuan. He could only think of his identity as Player Yuan, which has the most influence and significance. Player Yuan? I don't give a fuck about such a pointless alias. There's only one reason why I allowed you on my mountain. You, who has seemingly zero connections to the Demon Sealing clan, have managed to kill a demon. Do you understand the significance behind that achievement? This is about the demon? Yuan was dumbfounded by the situation. He truly didn't expect the demon that had killed would be involved in this conversation. The Qi family is one of 3 ancient families that have served the Demon Sealing clan since ancient times with both experience and profound knowledge about demons, yet the best they can do is seal demons. You, on the other hand, can kill them. You alone are worth more than the entire Qi family. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Yuan was left speechless by the Lord's words, and he wasn't sure where to begin with so much information. Manager. Get us the crystal. The Lord suddenly shouted, causing the air to tremble. Yes. The manager left the place for a few minutes before returning while carrying something in her grasp. That thing is. Yuan's jaw dropped from shock when he saw what the manager was carrying. It was a chunk of crystal that was yellow in color, and there was a hint of red in the center of the crystal. Is that what I think it is? Yuan asked the Lord while silently praying that he would be wrong. Yes, this is a red calamity crystal. It can predict calamities, but it only works when the calamity is influenced by demons. As you can see, this crystal is already yellow with a hint of red. There's going to be another calamity soon, meaning that another demon will be unleashed into this world. There are demons sealed within the Dragon Spiral Mountain, and I want you and your demon sealing faction to deal with the demons. You can either seal them or dispose of them. I personally prefer extermination. Yuan was speechless once again. Who could have expected that the Lord's request for him would be to kill demons? If you accept my request and take care of the demons, I will not only forgive you for breaking the rules, but I will even tell you a little secret regarding this world and my identity. If that's not enough, I can tell you the true purpose of Cultivation Online and why it was created. Cultivation Online's true purpose? Yuan mumbled in a dazed voice. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 747. Published at 6th of February, 2022, 7:57 and 28 seconds p.m. Chapter 747. 747. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 747. Inside the Dragon Spiral Mountain. So your request for us is to deal with these demons, is that correct? Yuan asked for confirmation. Indeed. Okay, I will take care of them. Yuan nodded his head and agreed to the Lord's request. A dumbfounded noise echoed from the cave, almost as though the Lord was surprised by his response. Is there a problem? Yuan asked. No. I just didn't expect you to agree so easily. This is a demon, demons that we're talking about. Even the Qi family is reluctant to fight with demons unless they absolutely have to, the Lord said. Well, what else am I supposed to say? No, I want help you deal with these demons that could potentially destroy this world. You know, I created the demon sealing faction for a reason. I plan on eradicating every last demon in this world, even if I don't get anything out of it. After a moment of silence, the Lord spoke again. Before you make your decision, I would like you to see something. Manager. Take him inside the mountain. Inside the mountain. Are you sure? The manager appeared to be shaken by his request. He will have to see it eventually since he will be fighting the demons for us, so we might as well let him see the scene and fully understand our situation now. There's no point in delaying this issue. The demons are going to come out of their seal, and I don't trust the Qi family will be able to handle this calamity by themselves. The Lord sighed. I understand. The manager turned to look at Yuan and said, Follow me. Yuan nodded and proceeded to follow the manager, but they did not go the way he had expected. Instead of going back to where they came from, they went to the other side of the mountain, where a hidden path was located. After walking for about half an hour, they arrived before this cave entrance that was emitting an ominous atmosphere. Before we go inside, I must warn you not to touch anything, the manager said to him. I won't, he promised. Let's go. They entered the cave a moment later, and after walking for some more, they encountered another entrance, but this one was emitting a menacing aura that would make people reluctant to move forward. After taking a deep breath and swallowing down his nervousness, he followed the manager into the enclosed area on the other side of the entrance. This is. Yuan's body shook violently when he realized what he was seeing in this place, and it left him completely speechless. He could feel multiple emotions flaring up. Shock, worry, fear, distress, dismay, and above all, powerless. Meanwhile, in the Chu family, Senior Qi, who had been sealed for almost an entire day, finally manages to break out of Yuan's seal. She gasped for air after breaking out of her seal, and her body was soaked in cold sweat. That little bastard. How could he humiliate me in such a manner? He actually kept me sealed for so long. Does he not have even a shred of mercy in him? She cried in a low voice. Even though she was sealed, she was fully conscious and awake. It felt like she was in a prolonged sleep paralysis, and no matter what she did, she could not break free from the seal. She became more and more worried as time went on that she would remain sealed forever. Senior Chi, are you okay? Someone from the Chu family had been stationed there to monitor her condition, and he immediately approached her when he noticed the situation. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. What is the situation now? Where's Yuan and Liuxiang? She shouted in an angry voice. Tive left yesterday after causing havoc in the family. Yuan even crippled the master's cultivation. The man explained the situation to her. What? He crippled Chu Shijian. How ruthless. Senior Qi trembled in fear after learning of this information, and her thoughts of revenge came to a quick halt. This man is ruthless and dangerous. If I mess with him anymore, he might kill me. Senior Qi believed that if Yuan was capable of leaving her sealed, capable of crippling Chu Shijian, then he was also capable of killing her. Where is Chu Shijian right now? Take me to him. Senior Qi said to the man. Right away. Sometime later, they arrived at Chu Shijian's room, where the owner of the room could be seen lying in bed with a sick and frail appearance, and his wife and children were around him, almost like they were at his deathbed. Senior Qi, thank the heavens that you're fine. Chu Shijian said in a relieved voice after seeing her face. I was worried that you had died, and I have spent all night thinking about how I should relay this news to your family. What about you? You look like you're on your deathbed. Senior Qi said to him. I am fine. Because I suddenly lost all of my cultivation. My body has become frail and pathetic. However, I am not going to die. I should fully recover in a few months. Chu Shijian said. That's good to hear. But what are you going to do now? Are you going to take revenge? Senior Qi asked him. Ah, revenge? Chu Shijian laughed in a low and dispirited voice. After losing my cultivation, I stopped caring about many things, and I realized that I could no longer feel some emotions, almost like I'd lost them as well. What will I achieve with revenge? Am I going to get my cultivation back if I avenge myself? I don't care anymore. Senior Qi was speechless. Is Chu Shijian really going to take this massive slap in the face and do nothing about it? However, she understood his feeling a little. After all, she is also feeling hesitant about taking revenge. I understand. Anyways, I will be returning to my family now. My family has been unable to calm down since the Jade Gardens incident, and they believe that more demons will soon break out of their seal. If you need me, send me a message, but I may not be available anytime soon. Senior Qi said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 748. Published at 6th of February, 2022, 7:57 and 27 seconds p.m. Chapter 748. 748. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 748. Demons within the mountain, I understand. I apologize for getting you mixed up in my family's mess, Senior Qi. Chu Shijian said to her. Also, before you leave, please keep the fact that I had lost my cultivation a secret. There are many people out there who wish to see my Chu family fall, and if they learn that I am no longer a cultivator, they will definitely try to destroy my family. You don't have to worry. My lips are sealed. Senior Qi said. Thank you very much. Senior Qi left the place shortly after. Meanwhile, back at Yuan's side, he had been staring at the scene before him for the past few minutes without moving a single muscle. Why are there so many demons here? Yuan eventually snapped out of his daze to ask the manager, who was standing beside him with a calm face, as she was clearly used to seeing this scene. After a quick count, Yuan counted 11 sealed demons in this place. When the Lord mentioned demons, Yuan had expected to see 2 or 3 demons, but to think there are almost a dozen demons sealed within the mountain. It was too much for him to take in at once. Why are there so many demons here? Yuan asked. Try guessing. Your guess will be as good as mine. Yuan began to walk around the area, silently inspecting the sealed demons. They don't have any cracks, which is good, and compared to the demon at the Jaded Garden, their pulses are much calmer. Are you done yet? I don't like this place, so I'd prefer it if we can leave quickly, the manager said to him. Yes, we can leave. Yuan nodded. What do you think? How do you like the scenery? The Lord asked Yuan about his experience inside the cave. Why are there so many demons sealed there? Yuan asked. Who knows? They were already there when I arrived at this mountain. Anyways, after seeing the demons inside the mountain, do you still wish to help us defeat the demons? The Lord asked him again. And without hesitation, Yuan nodded. I do. That's good to hear. Is there anything else you have for me? One last thing. I want you to meet the Chief family and cooperate with them to resolve the situation. The Chief family? Yuan raised his eyebrows. As I mentioned before, they have been dealing with demons since ancient times. I think they will be of help to you. Yuan pondered for a moment. He has been interested in the Chief family ever since he met Senior Qi, and he wondered if they were related to the demon sealing clan in. Where can I meet the Chief family? They live on a remote island somewhere in the middle of the vast sea, away from society. What? Yuan was surprised to hear this information. If you wish to visit them, I can have the manager take you there. However, the Chief family is very strict when it comes to guests, so you should go there alone. I understand. When can we go there? Yuan then asked. I will have to contact the Chief family first, but it should take a week. The Lord said. Okay. I will contact you later. The manager led Yuan back down the mountain shortly after. Why do you wish to kill the demons so badly? The manager suddenly asked him as they descended the mountain. Because if demons exist, innocent people will suffer. I lost a friend to the demon in the Jaded Garden. I will not let that happen again. And in order for me to achieve that, I must exterminate all demons from this world, he said. You know, what you saw today inside the mountain. They might only be a small fraction of the real numbers in this world. There could be hundreds, even thousands of demons sealed around the world. Visit Riedel. Me for extra chapters. I don't care if there's 100 or even 1,000 of them. I will not stop hunting them until all of them are removed. I see. Once they returned to Yuan's residence, the manager returned back to the mountain. Can we trust him? The manager asked the Lord. I believe so. He has a pure aura. Him? A pure aura? I don't believe it. How can someone who had done what he did to the Chu family have a pure aura? I'm sure he has his reasons. Meanwhile, after returning home, Yuan gathered everyone in the living room. Welcome back, Yuan. How did things go with the Lord? Did you figure out what he wants from us? Wang Ming asked him. I will tell you all about it once everyone is here. Once everyone was present, Yuan began recalling his conversation with the Lord. This might sound shocking, but there are demons sealed within this mountain, and the Lord wants us to take care of them. That is the request. What? There are demons on this mountain? Everyone there stared at him with wide eyes. Yes, I saw them with my own eyes, divine sense. There was not 1, not 2, not 3, but 11 demons currently sealed somewhere within the mountain. 11 demons? They exclaimed in a terrified voice. If that happens, the damages will be catastrophic. Humanity might even be in danger, Lang said. Indeed, there's a good chance the world will end if we let these demons roam freely. However, that is not going to happen because we are going to take care of them. This is why I created the Demon Sealing faction. This is our purpose, to eradicate demons, as I am simply not satisfied with just sealing them. But of us besides you know any demon sealing techniques, and I am still trying to learn the one you gave me. How long do we have until they break out of their seal? Wang Ming asked. I don't know. Yuan shook his head. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 749. Published at 6th of February, 2022, 7:57 and 26 seconds p.m. Chapter 749. 749. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 749. Technique transmission. And I know not everyone here has a demon sealing technique, but I am working on that. I will be heading to the Qi family next week to speak with them, said Yuan. What? The Qi family? Why are you going there? Chu Liuxiang was shocked to hear this. The Qi family is an ancient family that has vast knowledge on demons, and they could help us deal with them. They are like the demon sealing clan in. I don't think they will be willing to help us, especially not after what you did to the Chu family and Senior Qi. They probably hold a grudge against you now. If they're willing to let the demons run wild because of some petty grudge, then we don't need help from them. However, we won't know that until I meet them, Yuan said. He turned to look at Shi Murong and Wu Zhao and continued. Can you two ascend as soon as possible so that we can head to the myriad of techniques? I want to see if they have any demon sealing techniques since that's where I got my demon sealing strike. I will ascend today. Shi Murong nodded. I will as well. Wu Zhao said. Good. Then I will see you two at the square later today. I am going to study the demon sealing strike some more. Wang Ming said. Hurry up and learn it already so that I can also study it, Wang Bingbing said to him, as she also uses swords. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. We're going to be busy until these demons are dealt with. Yuan said to them. Sometime later, everyone returned to their own rooms to cultivate. By the way, if you want us to learn demon sealing techniques, what about that one technique you used on Senior Qi? You didn't need a weapon to use it, so maybe we can learn it as well. Chu Liuxiang suddenly asked him. I have thought about that as well, but I don't think that's possible. Although I know the technique, I didn't learn it from a technique manual, so I don't know how I can teach it to you guys. Then how did you learn the technique? Chu Liuxiang raised her eyebrows. Well, it's complicated. Yuan sighed. After all, it wasn't as though he could say that had learned the technique from memories of his past life. Maybe there is a technique that will allow you to write down techniques you already know. How else do you explain why there are so many duplicate techniques out there? You're right. I will ask the experts later. Yuan said. Then I am going to cultivate inside. I still have a lot of catching up to do. Chu Liuxiang said. I will come with you. Yuan nodded. They logged into a little later. As for Meishio, she decided to continue cultivating in the real world. Feng Feng, Xiaohua, I have a question. Yuan called the experts out when he logged on. What do you need help with? Feng Yuxiang asked. Are there any methods to teach techniques you know to someone else? He asked them. You want to teach someone your techniques? They looked at him with raised eyebrows. Yes, but I don't know how. Well, there are two ways you can teach someone your technique. One, you can write down your technique and give it to them. Or you can directly send the technique into their head. Of course, they are both techniques that you need to learn yourself. I figured. Hopefully, the myriad of techniques have these tech. Before Yuan could even finish his sentence, Xiaohua extended her arm at him, and she was holding on to a manual. Here you go, Brother Yuan. This technique will allow you to give techniques to others directly. Yuan immediately smiled. Thank you, Xiaohua. Feng Yuxiang silently stared at Yuan for a few moments before opening her mouth to speak. Young master, can I say a few things? Go ahead. I don't know why you want to give your techniques to someone, or who you plan on giving them to, but I highly discourage such actions. Your techniques are all incredibly valuable, and they should not be taught to others. Yuan smiled and said, I know Feng Feng. I am not giving away my techniques to just anyone. They are my friends, and I am only teaching them demon sealing techniques. Oh, If that's the case, then you don't have to mind me. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Yuan began studying the technique Xiaohua gave him. Technique transmission. This is actually a divine rank technique? Yuan was surprised to see this sort of technique, having such a high rank. After spending a couple of hours studying the technique, Yuan managed to learn it. Technique transmission. Rank. Divine description. Allows you to transmit any learned techniques below divine rank to others. After learning the technique, Yuan went to seek for Chu Liuxiang. Lulu, I want to try transferring this technique to you. Okay. Yuan proceeded to activate the technique and tapped on Chu Liuxiang's forehead with his finger that was glowing a subtle light. The next moment, Chu Liuxiang could feel information entering her head. Wow, there's a lot of information flowing inside my head. Is this the technique you used on Senior Qi? Chu Liuxiang asked after receiving the technique. Yes, how is it? I'm surprised it's only an earth rank technique. It looked so powerful. Not really. They can be used to seal demons, but it's not as effective as the demon sealing strike. I guess it's like a basic demon sealing technique for beginners. I see. That makes more sense. And she continued, I guess I will have to put my other techniques on hold for now so that I can learn this one first. Okay. Good luck. I will go meet up with the other two and head to the myriad of techniques. I should be back by tonight. Yuan nodded. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 750. Published at 6th of February, 2022, 7:57 and 25 seconds p.m. Chapter 750. 750. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 750. Demon Sealing Clan's Grand Library. After transferring the demon sealing technique to Chu Liuxiang, Yuan went to the square to meet up with Shi Murong and Wu Zhao, so they could also receive a heaven rank technique. Are you guys ready? Yuan asked them. Yes. While they walked, Yuan said to Shi Murong, you have the same name as someone I know in. Who? A dragon. Yuan said with a smile. I mean, it isn't that weird for people to share the same name. Wu Zhao said. I guess so. Sometime later, they arrived at the myriad of techniques. Yuan brought them to the 4th floor after they had their destiny examination. You guys can go ahead and look for your desired technique. I will meet you all here in a few hours. Yuan said to them before going off on his own. There aren't any demon sealing techniques on this floor, but maybe I can seek Senior Bai's help. Hopefully he's not busy. However, there was one problem. He didn't know how to contact Senior Bai. Although Senior Bai gave him a jade slip, it was only meant for alerting him about the escaped immortals. Guess I should ask the workers here. Yuan approached the woman working at the desk on the 4th floor and asked her, Hello, do you know how I can contact Senior Bai? The woman looked at him with a dumbfounded face. Senior Bai? He's not someone you can just contact. I know, that's why I am asking you if you know any way to contact him. Yuan said, misunderstanding the woman's words. Look here. Senior Bai is someone with a very distinguished background. I don't know who you are, but you do not qualify to speak with him. Yuan sighed and showed this woman his faction symbol. We're from the same faction and he's like a mentor to me. Why, you're in the Celestial Overlords. How is that possible? You should be in spirit heaven. The woman exclaimed in a shocked voice. Yuan shrugged. It just happened. Can I speak with Senior Bai now? Just a moment. The woman looked for a jade slip underneath her desk before asking him. Your name? Yuan. Why do you want to speak with him? I would like to ask him about demon sealing techniques. The woman had many questions, but she didn't dare to ask them. Give me a moment. The woman then relayed all of Yuan's information to the jade slip. Senior Bai, there is a person named Yuan who would like to ask you about demon sealing techniques. Now we wait. She said to Yuan afterward. A few minutes later, the jade slip began trembling, and the woman immediately picked it up. Let me speak with him. Senior Bai's voice resounded a moment later. I understand. The woman handed the jade slip to Yuan. Did something happen? Senior Bai asked him. Yes, unfortunately. Yuan sighed. I am currently looking for demon sealing techniques, but I don't know where to acquire them. So your problem is related to demons? Senior Bai mumbled to himself. After a moment of silence, Senior Bai said, All right, I will let you go to that place. You have already learned the demon sealing strike, so there should be no problem if I send you there. Yuan raised his eyebrows at the way Senior Bai mentioned this place, making it sound quite ominous. Where is this place? Yuan asked him. It's a special place within the myriad of techniques that can only be accessed by certain people. The Demon Sealing Clan. You should be familiar with them since you learned their technique, right? Yes, I know the Demon Sealing Clan. Yuan confirmed. In fact, he is technically their founder. This place is located within the myriad of techniques, but it's actually owned by the Demon Sealing Clan, so there are a lot of demon sealing techniques there. That sounds like the place I need to go. How do I get there? I will need to create a portal for you, but that will take some time, and I am a little busy right now. Come back tomorrow. I will have it ready by then. I understand. Thank you, Senior Bai. Yuan returned the jade slip to the woman afterward. Thank you for the help, Yuan said to her before turning around and walking away, leaving her speechless. Sometime later, Shi Morong and Wu Zhao returned with a technique of their choice. Visit Riedel. Me for extra chapters. They went to pay for the techniques shortly after. Thank you for the technique, Yuan. They bowed to him afterward. No need to thank me. Yuan returned to the hotel after Shi Morong and Wu Zhao left to study their techniques. I'm going to return to the myriad of techniques tomorrow to acquire some demon sealing techniques, Yuan said to Chu Liuxiang. Do you need me to come with you? It's okay, you can focus on your cultivation. I understand. The following morning, Yuan returned to the myriad of techniques. Welcome back, esteemed guest. The woman on the fourth floor immediately recognized Yuan and greeted him. Good morning. Senior Bai's preparations are ready. Can you leave now? She then asked him. Yes, I am ready to leave. Yuan nodded. Please follow me. The woman stood up and brought Yuan to another room. There's nothing here, Yuan said when he saw the empty room. Please wait a moment while I contact Senior Bai. A few minutes later, a golden portal suddenly appeared in the center of the room. Try not to cause any trouble there, my little friend. Senior Bai's voice resounded in the room afterward. I want, Yuan said with a smile. When you're ready to leave, just go back into the portal you appeared from. I understand. Good luck. After taking a deep breath, Yuan entered this portal and disappeared from the myriad of techniques. Ding. This place is amazing. Yuan mumbled in a dazed voice after seeing the scenery before him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 751. After being transported to the Demon Sealing Clan's Grand Library, Yuan looked around with a look of awe on his face. Despite the place being titled a library, the atmosphere and scenery looked nothing like a library. The floor was made out of clouds, and the sky was pure golden, giving the place a heavenly and divine atmosphere, almost as though the place was created for celestial beings. There was a massive building a few hundred meters away from him, and it gave off an exquisite feeling, just like an emperor's royal residence. It was also quite populated in this place with numerous people of all ages walking in and out of the building, and most of them were wearing similar outfits. However, when Yuan tried to look at their cultivation, he was shocked to realize that he was unable to see the majority of their cultivation. These people were clearly cultivators, but if he couldn't see their cultivation, it simply meant that they were all at a level that far exceeded Yuan's own cultivation, hence why he could not see them. Although these cultivators are probably not at Miss Sue or Senior Bay's level, they are definitely some of the most powerful cultivators that I have encountered yet. Yuan thought to himself. Once he had enough of the scenery, Yuan began approaching the building in the distance. However, he was stopped at the entrance by a middle-aged man. Hey, you stop right there. Yuan halted his movements and turned to look at the man. I don't sense a badge on you. How'd you get in here? The man asked him. Senior Bai sent me here. Yuan quickly responded. Senior Bai? The man appeared to be surprised by his response. Well, even if Senior Bai sent you here, I cannot allow you to enter the building without a badge. The man said after a moment of silence. And he continued, however, you can receive a badge by proving that you are associated with the Demon Sealing clan. How do I prove myself? Yuan asked. You must prove to me that you know at least one demon sealing technique, he said. Okay. Yuan summoned his Empyrean overlord and proceeded to execute the demon sealing strike on the spot. The man's jaw dropped wide open afterward, and he cried inwardly, he not only has a soul weapon, but I have never seen someone execute the demon sealing strike and emit such a powerful demon sealing aura before. While Yuan isn't aware, all demon sealing strikes emit this unique aura. And it is exactly this aura that demons are weak against. If a demon is struck by this demon sealing aura, they will become sealed. With that being said, the demon sealing aura must be strong enough to actually seal the demon. If the aura isn't strong enough, it would only annoy the demon at most without sealing them. As for Yuan's demon sealing aura, it was so powerful that it attracted the people in the surrounding area, and they became even more interested in him after seeing his low cultivation base. How was that? Do I get a badge now? Yuan asked the man. Sure. The man nodded his head with a dumbfounded look on his face. Only an idiot would refuse to give a badge to someone that's brimming with talent as a demon sealer. The man then handed Yuan a black and gold badge that had the words demon sealing flawlessly engraved on it. Make sure you bring this the next time you come here. The man said to him. I understand. Thank you. Once he had the badge, Yuan proceeded to make his way into the building. However, shortly after entering the building, he was stopped again, and it was by a handsome tall young man this time. Hey, junior brother, what's your name? The man asked him. Me? Yuan. My name's Wan Yu, and I just had to approach you after seeing your display just now. I almost couldn't believe my eyes when I saw your cultivation. You really impressed me. If you're new here, why don't I show you around? Yuan looked at this handsome man with a suspicious gaze. Wan Yu laughed and said, Don't worry, I am nobody suspicious. Here, look at this. He showed Yuan a badge and continued, I am an official lecturer in this place, and it is my job to guide promising demon sealers such as yourself, hence why I approached you. Seeing the badge, Yuan decided to trust him for now. Okay, thank you. Yuan nodded. Before we start, I must ask you, how long have you been with the Demon Sealing clan? Well, Yuan began pondering for an appropriate answer. Despite knowing the Demon Sealing strike, he isn't officially part of the Demon Sealing clan. I'm quite new, I guess. He eventually said. I see, so you're newer than I thought. Of course, that is perfectly fine. Wan Yu said. And he continued. How about your knowledge regarding the Demon Sealing clan? Not much, to be honest. Yuan didn't want to lie about this since he saw this as a chance to learn more about the Demon Sealing clan. I understand, then I will guide you as though you just entered the clan. Let's start with, why did you come to the Grand Library today? Did you come to learn demon sealing techniques? Or are you here to practice with demons? When you asked him, excuse me? Practice with demons? Yuan thought he misheard and asked. You didn't know? You can practice fighting against demons here. Of course, they are not real demons but artificial demons, but they have the same abilities and weaknesses as demons, so you will have to seal them in order to defeat them. Do you want to try fighting an artificial demon? Wan Yu said to him. I do. Yuan immediately replied. This was a great chance for him to practice fighting against demons before the demons in his world break out of their seals. Chapter 752. All right. Follow me. Wan Yu said to Yuan before taking him to this open area somewhere within the building. In this open area, there were many groups of people standing in different spots watching cultivators attempt to fight the artificial demons. These are artificial demons? Yuan's eyes widened when he saw one of these artificial demons for the first time. They resembled the demons greatly, with red skin, horns, a bloodthirsty face, and even a red crystal embedded in their chest. However, there was one big difference between these artificial demons and real demons. They lacked the bloodthirsty aura that real demons possessed. Instead, they had this overwhelming aura created from spiritual energy to pressure the cultivator fighting it. It appears that all of the artificial demons are occupied. Let's watch them for now. You can also learn something from them. Wan Yu said. Okay. Yuan nodded, and he watched these cultivators fight the demons. After watching these cultivators for about half an hour, Yuan realized something about these cultivators, that they really sucked at sealing these demons. Despite these cultivators hitting the artificial demons many times with their demon sealing strike, the demons were still able to move and fight back. Why aren't the demons being sealed despite getting struck by demon sealing techniques? Yuan asked Wan Yu. Wan Yu looked at him with raised eyebrows and said, if a demon can be sealed with a single strike, the cultivator fighting that demon would be many levels above the demon. Even the most talented demon sealers of our generation require a couple of strikes before they can seal a demon entirely. Once you strike a demon with a demon sealing strike, the demon sealing aura will slowly build up inside their body, and once there is enough built up, it seals the demon. Yuan didn't know what to make of Wan Yu's words, as had sealed multiple demons stronger than him with a single strike. And even the demon lord that was far stronger than him had succumbed to his demon sealing technique in a single strike, albeit it took a bit for it to take effect. However, there was someone who could seal demons with a single strike. In fact, he could seal 1,000 demons with a single move. Can you guess who it is? Wan Yu suddenly said. Divine Paragon? Yuan answered. That's right. The founder of the demon sealing clan, Divine Paragon. He was not only the most powerful demon sealer during his era, nobody has been able to get close to his power since then, even though millions of years have passed. People say he was created by the heavens to deal with the demons, and that's exactly what he did. The cultivation world used to be terrorized and ruled by demons, but when the Divine Paragon showed up, the demons ran in all directions. Of course, no matter where they ran, the Divine Paragon would chase them until they pretty much became extinct. It's truly unfortunate that the Divine Paragon disappeared without saying a word. Some people still believe that he's still alive somewhere in this boundless universe. Yuan remained silent. If they knew that the Divine Paragon had died and reincarnated, not even the heavens would know how they would react. Sometime later, one of the cultivators there has finally managed to seal the artificial demon. Once that happened, a figure approached the demon to inspect it. Not bad. Your demon sealing aura is quite powerful. This demon will remain sealed for about 500 years. The person said to the cultivator, who appeared to be very happy about his results. Who is that? Yuan asked. He's a fellow lecturer like me. We occasionally come here to watch these junior demon sealers and give them pointers. Wan Yu said. I see. Who wants to go next? The lecturer asked. Hey, race your chance. Wan Yu said to Yuan, who nodded and stepped forward. I would like to go. The lecturer turned to look at Yuan, and to his surprise there was a spirit lord in this place. Give me a minute to adjust the difficulty. Do you want to fight a demon at the spirit lord level? Or should I make it spirit grandmaster? The lecturer asked him. Can you make it spirit king? Yuan asked him. As spirit king? Everyone there looked at him with wide eyes. Who's this kid? He wants to fight a spirit king demon as a spirit lord? How reckless. He's probably just seeking attention. He won't last a minute. As expected, he's an interesting one. Wan Yu was the only person there that had a smile on his face that didn't give off the feeling of ridicule. Once the lecturer adjusted the artificial demon's cultivation to that of a first-level spirit king, Yuan stepped into the arena to face the demon. Good luck, kiddo. Wan Yu cheered him on. It was at this moment the people there noticed Wan Yu's presence. Greetings, Senior Yuan. Everybody there greeted him in a respectful manner. Don't mind me. I am just here to watch my new friend. Guan Yu said. Friend? That spirit lord? The people there were in disbelief. Meanwhile, Yuan started his fight with the artificial demon. After summoning his Empyrean overlord, Yuan attacked the demon without hesitation. The demon tried to defend itself against Yuan's fierce assault, but it was having trouble doing so, leaving the spectators dazed. They couldn't believe their eyes. That a spirit lord was putting so much pressure on a demon that was an entire realm above him. Even though it was only an artificial demon, it still has the same prowess as a real demon, so realistically speaking, a spirit lord shouldn't be able to push this demon back so far. Even if he can overpower a demon with pure strength, all of his efforts will be pointless if he cannot seal the demon, as they will simply regenerate all of its injuries. One of the spectators there said, which is 100% true. However, Yuan has only been hitting the demon with normal attacks without using any demon sealing techniques, which puzzled the spectators, Guan Yu included. While they didn't expect Yuan to use demon sealing techniques with every strike, it also didn't make any sense for him to not use them at all, and this made the spectators ponder Yuan's thoughts. Chapter 753. Many minutes have passed since Yuan began fighting the artificial demon, yet he continued to use nothing more than basic sword techniques on the demon. This puzzled the spectators, as it seemed like Yuan had no intention of sealing the demon for whatever reason. What in heaven's name is he doing? It's been almost 15 minutes, yet he hasn't used a single demon sealing technique. If you're here to play around, then get out. There are others here waiting to practice. Yeah, get out. This isn't the place for you to play around. The cultivators there began getting frustrated at Yuan for purposefully not sealing the demon. They have never seen a demon sealer as obnoxious as him until today. Calm down, everyone. Guan Yu suddenly said to them in a soothing voice, and he continued, as far as I can tell, he's doing exactly what this place is meant to do. To allow you to practice fighting against demons without needing to worry about getting killed. Just because he's not using his demon sealing techniques does not mean he's not practicing. The cultivators there no longer complained about Yuan not using his demon sealing technique, and they decided to watch him for a few minutes before losing interest and going to watch someone else. Half an hour later, pretty much everyone had lost interest in Yuan's practice session besides two people, and they were both lecturers. Fellow Taoist Yuan, can you tell me why you're so interested in this young man? Besides his impressive raw strength, I don't see anything else from him that's worthy of your attention. Guan Yu smiled and said, if you'd seen his demon sealing aura, you would understand. Just be patient. It'll be worth the wait. If you say so. The other lecturer nodded. While Yuan was focused on getting combat experience with a demon, a cold voice suddenly resounded, snapping him out of his focus. Are you really even a demon sealer? You're so pathetic. Ha! To Yuan's surprise, the artificial demon had suddenly started speaking when it had been silent since the beginning. Unbeknownst to Yuan, these artificial demons have a function where it will mock the fighter when they cannot seal the demon after a specific amount of time has passed. They do so in order to put more pressure on the fighter by publicly humiliating them in front of others. If you don't hurry up and seal me, I will eat all of your loved ones. Ha ha ha. Too bad someone as weak as you won't be able to stop me. You're doomed to watch your loved ones die before me. When Yuan heard the artificial demon's mockery, something had snapped inside him. Shut the hell up. Yuan suddenly jumped forward while his aura exploded with fierceness. This sudden change surprised Guan Yu and the other lecturer. Demon sealing strike. Yuan swung the Empyrean overlord directly at the artificial demon. The artificial demon could feel a powerful demon sealing aura coming from the sword, so it reacted by dodging the strike. However, Yuan's sword suddenly changed direction mid-motion, cleaving the demon's body cleanly in half. Haha, not bad. But you won't be able to defeat me like. The artificial demon suddenly stopped speaking when it realized that its body was already beginning to feel stiff, and this feeling expanded through its body within seconds. When it looked down at its own body, It realized that its regenerative abilities had stopped, and the lower half of its body had already turned into stone completely. The demon slowly lifted its head to look at Yuan, who held a cold expression on his face, and for the next few seconds, they would quietly stare at each other until the rest of the artificial demon was sealed. Heavens! Both Wan Yu and the other lecturer uttered in a dazed voice after witnessing this scene. The other cultivators there had also turned to look at Yuan's area, but nobody there saw the entire thing. When they looked, the demon was already lying on the ground with its body separated in half, and the lower half already petrified. However, they were able to watch the rest of the demon being sealed within seconds. What the fuck just happened? What did he do to the artificial demon? Did anyone see it? No, I didn't see it. When I looked, the demon was already sealed. Even though the cultivators there didn't know what happened, they knew that something incredible had happened, as the instructors' faces were filled with awe, not to mention the powerful demon sealing aura that suddenly erupted moments ago. And these cultivators all wished that they'd continued watching Yuan's practice. Such a powerful demon sealing aura. Just who is this young man? And where did you find him? The lecturer beside Wan Yu asked him. I found him at the front of the Grand Library when he displayed the demon sealing strike to get a badge to enter this place, and when I asked him, he said that he was new. The lecturer swallowed nervously, and he approached the sealed demon a moment later. After inspecting the artificial demon for a few seconds, he shook his head and said, "This artificial demon can no longer be used. It's been completely destroyed. The seal was too powerful." What? The cultivators there were shocked to hear this information. They have never heard of an artificial demon being sealed to the point where they could no longer function. I'm so sorry. Yuan quickly apologized after realizing the situation. I broke another piece of training equipment. He cried inwardly. It feels like every time he practices on training equipment, it would inevitably break. I will pay for the damages. Yuan said a moment later while inwardly bracing himself to sacrifice an arm and leg. However, the lecturer merely laughed at his words and said while waving his hand, "Don't worry about it, young lad. These things are quite old, so I was already thinking about replacing them." Of course, these artificial demons are maintained every day to make sure they are like new. But the lecturer didn't tell Yuan, so that he doesn't feel bad about it. Chapter 754. After Yuan destroyed the artificial demon, the lecturer had someone take away the demon, and since they didn't expect someone to destroy an artificial demon in such a manner, a replacement would not be ready for a few days. Do you mind if I continue practicing with the artificial demons? Yuan suddenly asked the lecturer, leaving him speechless. When Yuan saw the lecturer's perplexed face, he quickly continued, I won't break any more artificial demons, I promise. I won't even use my demon sealing techniques. I just want to become more comfortable when fighting demons. If you say it like that, I cannot refuse. The lecturer nodded. Thank you, senior. Yuan bowed to him before waiting for the next available artificial demon. While he waited, Wan Yu approached him and started a conversation with him. How old are you this year? You look very young. I'm 18 years old. What? You're that young? I truly wasn't expecting that. Wan Yu thought Yuan was older than he appeared, as that is usually the case in the cultivation world, especially in their realm. If you don't mind me asking, which family are you from? Wan Yu then asked. I don't belong to a family. Yuan shook his head. Oh, what about a sect? I used to be in a sect, but I am now wandering the 9 heavens with my friends. So you're a rogue cultivator, huh? That's very surprising as well. I thought you would be from some big family or prominent sect. With that being said, if you wish to join the Demon Sealing Grotto, you're more than welcomed. Demon Sealing Grotto? Yuan looked at Wan Yu and asked, what's their relationship with the Demon Sealing Clan? The Demon Sealing Clan came first, and was created by the Divine Paragon himself. The Demon Sealing Grotto, however, was created after the founder's disappearance. The two of them basically exist for the same purpose, to deal with the remaining demons in the 9 heavens. However, despite their similar purposes and existence, the two of them are not really that close to each other. In fact, they can even be considered rivals. After the founder's disappearance and the fact that demons are no longer a threat to the nine heavens and humanity, the demon sealing clan began to decline and grow weaker. Yet the clan refused to change, and continued their tradition despite the change happening across the world. A few higher-ups were fed up with the demon sealing clan's stubbornness, so they left the demon sealing clan to create their own powerhouse, which is the demon sealing grotto that functions more like a sect than a family, and they brought with them many prominent figures from the demon sealing clan, hurting them even further. However, despite our rivalry, both the demon sealing clan and the demon sealing grotto share the grand library. You can tell us apart from our uniforms. Those wearing black and gold are from the demon sealing clan, while those wearing black and red are from the demon sealing grotto. As you can see, I am wearing black and red, so I am from the demon sealing grotto. I'm not sure. Can you give me some time to think about it since all of this is very new to me? Yuan said after a moment of silence. Of course. Take all the time you need. And I am not saying this to blow our own bubbles, but the demon sealing grotto is currently far stronger than the demon sealing clan. If you join us, we will forge you into a top-tier demon sealer. Sometime later, Yuan returned to the stage when there was an opening to fight with an artificial demon. When the spectators saw this, they quickly went to watch Yuan fight the demon, but they became frustrated when Yuan did not use any demon sealing techniques for an entire hour, even while being constantly mocked by the artificial demon. However, they did not want to leave, fearing that they might miss the action again. Unfortunately for them, Yuan fought until the end without using a single demon sealing technique. Fuck. He's definitely doing this on purpose. The spectators were fuming by the end. If it weren't for Wan Yu and the other lecturers' presence, these people would have fought Yuan with nothing but their fists. Meanwhile, after he was satisfied with his practice, Yuan returned to Wan Yu and said to him, I would like to learn some demon sealing techniques now. I came to this place for this very reason as well. I understand. Follow me. Wan Yu nodded. As they walked, Wan Yu spoke. Since you're new here, you are only allowed access to very limited techniques. If you want to learn more techniques, you will need to raise your demon sealer rank. You can raise your rank by taking an examination that tests your demon sealing aura and your knowledge of demons. Since you have managed to successfully seal an artificial demon, you're considered an apprentice demon sealer. However, if I take into account your demon sealing aura and your performance today, I would rank you as high as an elite demon sealer, which is 2 ranks above apprentice. Unfortunately, you must take the exam before you can officially be considered as one. Yuan nodded and said, I will think about the exam later. For now, I will just look at the available techniques. Sometime later, Wan Yu led Yuan inside a large room that had multiple jade tablets placed around the room in an orderly fashion. What is this place? Yuan asked. You will understand once you take a look at the jade tablets, said Wan Yu. Yuan nodded and approached one of the jade tablets. This technique, demon sealing strike? To Yuan's surprise, the jade tablet had the demon sealing strike engraved onto it. That's right. These jade tablets are the techniques, and anyone can learn them as long as they have access to the rooms. Wan Yu said. Yuan didn't say anything else and began looking at all of the jade tablets. Chapter 755. Published at 12th of February, 2022, 6:18 and 6 seconds AM. Chapter 755. 755. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 755. Demon sealing clans decline? This is also the demon sealing strike? Yuan raised his eyebrows when he saw the second jade tablet. However, when he read the contents, he realized that it was a completely different technique. Although it functions similarly to his demon sealing strike, this technique was meant for daggers instead of the sword. When he realized this, Yuan immediately began studying the technique, as this technique would allow him to seal demons with the starry abyss, so that he no longer needed to rely just on swords. A few minutes later, Yuan closed his eyes and digested all of the information from the jade tablet. Ding. Did you just learn that technique? When Wan Yu saw a profound aura suddenly emit from Yuan's body, He realized that Yuan had just comprehended a new technique, but he still asked for confirmation. I thought you said anyone could learn these techniques. Yuan looked at him with a surprised face, misunderstanding Wan Ye's words. Yes, you can. I was just surprised at how quickly you learned the technique. You're full of surprises. Wan Yu chuckled. Oh, I see. Then can I ask you a few more questions? Of course. Let me hear them. Wan Yu nodded. Are there any limitations to how many techniques I can learn from this place? Nope. You can learn as many techniques you want. There are no limitations. Great, then my second question is, are there any rules about this place that I should know about? Yes, there's a few of them, actually. Wan Yu nodded and he continued. First, you are not allowed to share these techniques with outsiders. 2. You are forbidden from selling or trading these techniques even to fellow demon sealers. You must receive permission to teach other demon sealers. As an official lecturer, I am allowed to teach other demon sealers, but I am limited to what I can teach. One last rule you should keep in mind is that these techniques, while they were created to seal demons, they can also seal humans to a certain extent, and if you're caught sealing humans, you will be killed or crippled by the demon sealing clan or the demon sealing grotto. I understand. Yuan nodded. Thankfully, he sealed Senior Qi in his own world, not this world. As for the rule that forbids him from sharing these techniques, Yuan will obviously have to ignore this rule in order to teach the others demon sealing techniques. Furthermore, he has already broken the rule more than once. Yuan returned to studying the techniques shortly after, and he wouldn't stop until he learned enough techniques for everyone. Wan Yu was shocked when he saw this. Why in heaven's name does he need to learn this many demon sealing techniques? It's almost like he's learning a technique for every weapon out there. Wan Yu cried inwardly. An hour later, Yuan returned to Wan Yu and said to him, I will be leaving now. Thank you for helping me today. I learned a lot. You're leaving already? I will be back tomorrow to practice some more with the artificial demons. Yuan said. All right. If you ever need any more help and I am here, you can always come to me. Wan Yu nodded. I will. Yuan left the Grand Library shortly after and returned to the hotel. Lulu, I am going to try and cultivate technique transmission in the real world, so that I can transfer the techniques to everyone later. Yuan said to her. Okay, I will stay here until dinner then. Thus, Yuan logged off by himself and began trying to learn technique transmission in that world as well. Once it was time for dinner, and everyone gathered in the dining room, Yuan told them the news. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I have acquired a demon sealing technique for everyone here, but I will need a few days to learn a technique that will allow me to transfer the techniques directly into your mind. Although we can do this in cultivation online, I am not really supposed to share these techniques, so I'd rather do it in this world. It might also be a little quicker if we do it this way. That's fine. Take all the time you need, they said to him. The following day, Yuan returned to the Demon Sealing Clan's Grand Library, and he went straight to the area with the artificial demons. There's already people here? Despite arriving shortly after sunrise, all of the artificial demons were already occupied, so Yuan could only wait. While he waited there and watched the others practice, the lecturer from yesterday noticed Yuan and approached him. Young man, I never got your name yesterday. Yuan turned to look at the middle-aged man standing beside him and said, My name's Yuan. Yuan, huh? I am Tang Zheng, an official lecturer here for the past 10 years. I haven't seen you here before until yesterday. How long have you been a demon sealer? Not long. That's perfectly fine. Despite being new, you have a very impressive demon sealing aura, especially for someone at your cultivation base. Do you belong to the demon sealing clan, or the demon sealing grotto? Tang Zheng asked. I'm not actually officially affiliated with either, Yuan said. I see, so you're from one of the branch families. If you want, I can recruit you into the demon sealing clan right now, unless you've already been recruited by Wan Yu. It would be a pity if that was the case. Pity? Why would it be a pity? Yuan asked with a questioning gaze. As everyone is aware by now, the demon sealing clan is declining. We're currently in our weakest state ever since the clan's creation. At this rate, the demon sealing clan will continue to decline until its inevitable end, hence why we're recruiting any talent we can find. If you join the demon sealing grotto, that's one less talent we have and one more step towards our doom. Which is an immense pity since the demon sealing clan is the reason the cultivation world is so peaceful today. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 756. Published at 12th of February, 2022, 6:18 and 4 seconds AM. Chapter 756. 756. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 756. Legend of the Divine Paragon. Well, although Senior One has indeed offered me to join the Demon Sealing Grotto, I have not decided to join them yet. As for the Demon Sealing Clan, I would also like to think about it some more. Yuan responded to Tang Zheng's offer. Of course. Take all the time you need. Tang Zheng nodded with a relieved smile on his face. As long as Yuan doesn't accept one yes offer, he still has a chance to recruit Yuan into the Demon Sealing Clan. And while some might think Tang Zheng was exaggerating the Demon Sealing Clan's situation to trick Yuan into joining them, it is a fact that the clan has been in a straight decline ever since their founder disappeared. As for their reason for decline, it is actually much simpler than one would expect. The Demon Sealing Clan was created for the sole purpose of fighting demons, and after killing or sealing most demons and chasing the rest into hiding, the Demon Sealing Clan became less relevant as they were no longer needed due to the lack of demons. In the end, the downfall of demons was also the downfall of the Demon Sealing Clan. I am the reincarnation of the founder of the Demon Sealing Clan, so I should join them and save them from their ruin. However, I am no longer the Divine Paragon, and I shouldn't let my past affect my current life. Yuan was in a predicament. On one hand, he wants to help the Demon Sealing Clan that had created in his past life. However, on the other hand, he didn't want to let his past lives to continue affecting his current life, as he fears that he might lose his personality and become someone unrecognizable. After pondering for some time, Yuan temporarily stopped thinking about it to step onto the stage to fight the artificial demon. What's that kid doing? He's not using any demon sealing techniques. Since it was a new day, there would naturally be new people in the area that didn't know about Yuan. Who? Oh, him? He was also here yesterday doing the exact same thing as he is doing right now. I guess he just wants to experience fighting demons without actually sealing them. A waste of our time if you ask me. After all, what's the point of fighting demons if you don't seal them? Someone there recognized Yuan and explained to those asking. Eventually, the artificial demon began mocking Yuan for not being able to seal it. Haha. What's wrong, demon sealer? You can't even seal a fake demon? How will you survive if you encounter a real demon that is far more powerful than a fake? You should give up and just return to being a normal cultivator. Of course, Yuan ignored the artificial demon's taunting and continued to slice its body with the Empyrean Overlord. Once Yuan was satisfied with his workout a few hours later, he stopped fighting the artificial demon. Finally, I thought he was going to stay up there for the entire day. The people there sighed in relief when they noticed that Yuan was finally leaving, allowing them to fight the artificial demon. Tang Zheng, who had just come back to the area from eating lunch, noticed Yuan and quickly approached him. Yuan, are you free right now? Sort of. Why? Yuan asked. I'd like to show you something. Okay. Yuan didn't question Tang Zheng and followed him to another area within the Grand Library, arriving at another empty square shortly after. However, the place was empty in the sense that there was a lot of space in this area, since there were actually a lot of cultivators scattered around this place with most of them seated around this domineering statue. Yuan's eyes widened with surprise when he saw this statue that was located at the center of this empty square, as had seen the face of this statue before, mostly in his dreams. That's the Divine Paragon? Yuan mumbled in a low voice. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. When Tang Zheng heard it, he smiled and said, That's right. He is the founder of the Demon Sealing clan and the idol of every demon sealer in existence. Divine Paragon, also known as the Bane of Demons. When I was a young cultivator, I happened to overhear a legend about him. And because of this legend, I decided to become a demon sealer. I never looked back, nor have I ever regretted my decision. Do you want to hear it? Sure. Yuan nodded. When demons were still rampaging in the 9 heavens, millions of demons dwelled within this impenetrable stronghold in the demonic realm that was deemed impossible to conquer by all cultivators. However, the Divine Paragon, all by himself, entered the demonic realm for a total of 66 days. The world thought the Divine Paragon had died inside the demonic realm, but to everyone's shock, the Divine Paragon returned from the demonic realm. And that's when everyone learned the truth, that the Divine Paragon had been killing demons non-stop since he entered the hellhole. In just 2 short months, had conquered the demonic realm, and killed every single demon inside. Something everybody had deemed impossible. Nobody has entered the demonic realm since then, as the Divine Paragon had sealed the demonic realm just in case he missed a few demons. Demon sealers nowadays would have trouble fighting a single demon even in a group, yet the Divine Paragon had killed millions of demons all by himself in 2 short months. If you ask me what a real demon is, I would, without hesitation, say it's the Divine Paragon, in a good sense. Yuan was speechless after hearing this legend. No wonder why demons are terrified of him. He's actually more devious than demons. He sighed inwardly. Tang Zheng suddenly raised his eyebrows at Yuan, almost as though he'd realized something. Yuan, now that I look at you closely, you look awfully similar to the Divine Paragon statue over there. Almost like you're a younger version of the founder himself. When Yuan heard Tang Zheng's outrageous yet accurate claims, Yuan's body froze, almost as though had been sealed. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 757. Published at 12th of February, 2022, 9:09 and 6 seconds AM. Chapter 757. 757. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 757. Advanced Demon Sealer Examination. Good heavens, the longer I look at you, the more I get the feeling that you look like the founder. Tang Zheng subconsciously moved his face closer to Yuan's face to get a closer look. Yuan took a few steps back and said in a stiff voice, "You're probably just seeing things." "No, I am certain. You have such an eerie resemblance to the Divine Paragon. If I didn't know any better, I would say that you're a reincarnation of him," Tang Zheng said, unaware that he was 100% correct. "You know what? This could be a sign the heavens have sent us, that you could potentially become the next founder of the Demon Sealing clan. With your talents, it's definitely doable. Yuan, you must join the Demon Sealing clan. You, who bears the founder's face, cannot allow the Demon Sealing clan to disappear." Tang Zheng stared at Yuan with eyes full of emotions. He was someone easily influenced when it comes to the Divine Paragon. And with Yuan having so much resemblance to the Divine Paragon, Tang Zheng truly believed that Yuan was sent by the heavens to save the declining Demon Sealing clan. "Even if you tell me that." Yuan had intentions to join either the Demon Sealing clan or the Demon Sealing Grotto, but he wasn't sure which one he should join. On one hand, the Demon Sealing Grotto is much more powerful than the other option, but on the other hand, he had technically created the Demon Sealing clan, so it wouldn't be right to let them disappear. While Yuan pondered, a familiar voice suddenly resounded inside his head. "Join the Demon Sealing clan." Yuan recognized this voice to be the Divine Paragon's voice, and he turned to look at the Divine Paragon statue. In Yuan's eyes, the Divine Paragon statue had turned into a real person, and was no longer a statue. "There are secrets within the Demon Sealing clan that only I know of. If you let it disappear, these secrets will also disappear, and there's a good chance that the 9 heavens will return to chaos if you do not return to the demonic realm." Demonic realm? What does that have anything to do with joining the Demon Sealing clan? Yuan frowned. If you wish to learn the truth, you must enter the demonic realm. The demonic realm that you sealed? The divine paragon did not respond and returned to being a statue. Yuan sighed out loud and turned to look at Tang Zheng. Will it be problematic if I join the demon sealing clan while already being in a faction? Yuan asked. Faction? No, there won't. The demon sealing clan is not considered to be a family, a sect, nor a faction, so there shouldn't be any problems. Yuan raised his brows and asked. If the demon sealing clan is not any of these things, what is it? Honestly, I am not too sure either, but the divine paragon never considered the demon sealing clan to be any of these things. It used to be a place where anyone could join as long as they wanted to fight demons. Things have obviously changed since then, so it resembles a faction more than anything. With that being said, we're not considered a faction, and even if we are considered a faction, there shouldn't be any problem since most factions allow their members to join multiple factions as long as that faction is not an enemy. As for the demon sealing grotto, they are a faction, and they have a sect as well. Yuan nodded and said, Then I will join the demon sealing clan temporarily if you don't mind. May I ask why only temporarily? Just in case I change my mind. I can assure you that you will not regret your decision, but if you insist, that is fine. You can join us temporarily. We don't have any rules that forbid our members from leaving once they join anyway. Okay. Now that you are part of our demon sealing clan, let's get you your uniforms and badge. Yuan followed Tang Zheng to another place, where he would receive 3 sets of uniform and a badge. There's no rule about wearing the uniforms, so you don't have to wear them if you don't want to. As for the badge, it is proof that you are part of the demon sealing clan. You will need it if you want to enter any of our establishments. How is this badge any different from the one I received in front of the Grand Library? Yuan asked. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The Grand Library's badge will only allow you to enter this place, and it just means you're affiliated with the demon sealing clan. I see. Anyways, you're currently an apprentice demon sealer, but I have seen you defeat an artificial demon, so you qualify for the next rank. Would you like to take the examination now and become an advanced demon sealer? Tang Zheng then asked him. If I become an advanced demon sealer, I will get to learn more demon sealing techniques, right? Yuan asked. That's right. You'll get to learn divine rank demon sealing techniques. Then I will take the examination. Yuan nodded. Great. Follow me. Tang Zheng led Yuan back to the area with the artificial demons and said to him, Wait here while I grab 2 more official lecturers to witness in the examination. We need at least 3 lecturers. After Tang Zheng left, Yuan spectated the other cultivators while he waited. About 15 minutes later, Tang Zheng returned to him with 2 other individuals, an old lady and a beautiful young woman. Tang Zheng, you dragged me here for an advanced demon sealer examination during my lunchtime. I really hope it's worth it, or you'll regret wasting my time. The beautiful woman said to him as they entered the area. Don't worry, it will definitely be worth it. I dragged you here because I knew how much you both admire the founder. Once you see this young, before Tang Zheng could even finish his sentence, the old woman suddenly exclaimed in a shocked voice, Divine Paragon. Sure enough, the old lady noticed Yuan standing in the crowd and mistook him for the Divine Paragon. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 758. Published at 13th of February, 2022, 5:18 and 7 seconds p.m. Chapter 758. 758. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 758. Little founder, what the? Did you just say Divine Paragon? Have you finally gone senile from old age? The beautiful woman raised her eyebrows when she heard the old lattice words. After all, how could the Divine Paragon suddenly appear in the Grand Library? The woman subconsciously turned to look at the direction the old lady was looking at, and to her absolute shock, Someone who looked exactly like the divine paragon stood in the crowd. As fanatics and admirers of the divine paragon, they have engraved every detail of the divine paragon into their souls, so they knew right away when they saw Yuan's face that he looked exactly like the divine paragon. Wait! Before Tang Zheng could even open his mouth properly, the two women rushed through the crowd and directly at the unaware Yuan. Yuan, who was minding his own business, suddenly felt two aggressive presence behind him, causing him to turn around. When he did, he could see two women with glowing eyes running in his direction. Naturally, this startled Yuan, who could only wonder who these women were and why they were running at him. However, before he could even react, the old lady suddenly disappeared from her spot and appeared right beside him like a ghost. What the? Right as Yuan turned to look at the old lady, he suddenly felt someone touch his cheeks, who also turned his head. Wow! You really look like the divine paragon. What's your name? And where did you come from, handsome? The beautiful woman asked Yuan as she held his cheeks with her smooth hands, looking like an owner and her dog. My name's Yuan. He responded in a dazed manner. What in heaven's name do you two think you are doing to my new recruit? Tang Zheng suddenly appeared to drag them away from Yuan. He then said, I apologize for this, Yuan. They've been long-time admirers of the divine paragon, and since you look so similar to him, they went crazy. What do you mean he looks similar? He looks exactly like the divine paragon, albeit a lot younger. The beautiful woman said. I know that, hence why I brought you two here. However, if you're going to bother him, I will find new instructors for his examination. Tang Zheng sighed out loud. Why are you being so annoying, Tang Zheng? We're not bothering him at all. The old lady cleared her throat before speaking. As for the examination, do we really need to do it? I can tell by his appearance alone that he will easily pass the examination. Senior Fu is right. There's no way that someone with the divine paragon's face could fail such an easy exam. The beautiful woman said. Tang Zheng rubbed his temples and said, I also know he can pass the examination since I have already seen him seal an artificial demon, but we still need to do an official examination. It will look bad on us if we don't do this. Whatever. The beautiful said before turning to look at Yuan with a friendly smile. My name is Yen Hara. Let's talk more after your examination, handsome. Sure. After winking at Yuan, Yen Hara turned to look at the cultivators that were currently fighting an artificial demon. Hurry up and seal the demon already. If you make the little founder wait too long, I will go up there and seal the demon for you. When the cultivators and the spectators heard Yen Hara's words, they turned to look at them. Little founder? They all focused on Yuan, and sure enough, they could see a strong resemblance of the divine paragon from him. Heavens! Why didn't I notice this earlier? He really looks like the divine paragon statue. He looks so much like the founder that I wouldn't doubt it if you told me he was a direct descendant of the founder. What if he is a descendant? That's not possible. They said the founder had no Dao companion. That doesn't mean anything. For all we know, the founder could have found a Dao companion after his disappearance. Fuck. If you say it like that, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Soon enough, pretty much everybody in the area was talking about Yuan's resemblance to the divine paragon. A few minutes later, one of the cultivators there finally sealed the artificial demon and stepped off the stage. He turned to look at Yuan and smiled. The stage is all yours, little founder. Thank you. Yuan didn't know how he felt about being called little founder. Ignoring their accuracy, it just felt weird. Sometime later, Yuan stepped onto the stage, and all of the spectators in the area gathered around him to watch his examination. Before we begin, allow me to give you the rules, Tang Zheng said. And he continued, in order to pass the examination and become an advanced demon sealer, you must seal an artificial demon that is 2 realms below your cultivation base within the time limit, which is 30 minutes. What? Yuan was dumbfounded to hear the passing condition, as it sounded way too easy. 2 realms below my cultivation base within 30 minutes? Why is it so easy? Since he is a spirit lord, his artificial demon, which will be 2 realms lower, will only have the strength of a spirit master. He could seal a demon at this level even in his sleep. Of course, While this examination might be incredibly easy for someone like Yuan, not all demon sealers are as talented as him. While Yuan wouldn't have any trouble fighting demons above his cultivation base, he is an abnormal existence. Meanwhile, normal demon sealers would have trouble with demons even one realm below their own cultivation base. Therefore, if they made the examination too hard, nobody would be able to rank up. With that being said, even with an artificial demon 2 realms below the examinee's cultivation base, there are still many cultivators out there that would struggle against it. However, even though the examination was incredibly easy for Yuan, it wasn't as though he was completely free of worries. In fact, he had one major problem regarding this examination. If I hit it with my demon sealing techniques, I will definitely break another artificial demon. What should I do? He sighed inwardly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 759. Published at 13th of February, 2022, 5:18 and 6 seconds p.m. Chapter 759. 759. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 759. Advanced Demon Sealer. That's all you need to know for the examination. You may begin now, Tang Zheng said to Yuan a moment later. Yuan nodded, but he didn't immediately attack the artificial demon. As for the demon, it also won't attack Yuan until he makes the first move. What are you waiting for, little founder? The examination has already started. Yanhara said to him. There's a good chance that I will break the artificial demon, Yuan said. It was at this moment that Tang Zheng recalled Yuan's prowess yesterday that completely destroyed an artificial demon. Although losing one artificial demon isn't a huge loss, they are not cheap either, and if they lose 2 artificial demons back to back in 2 days, the maker of these artificial demons will become annoyed at them. However, before Tang Zheng could even say anything, Yanhara spoke out loud. Don't worry about breaking them. They're very durable and have the same regenerative ability as real demons, so no matter how you slice or dice it, you won't break it. Of course, Yanhara has no idea that Yuan had already destroyed an artificial demon just yesterday. And she continued, even if you somehow manage to break it, we can easily get a replacement, so go ahead and break it. Yuan nodded his head and didn't say anything else. He turned to look at the artificial demon with a calm gaze. I should try out the demon sealing strike for the dagger. With this thought in his mind, Yuan summoned the starry abyss in its invisible mode, and used it to attack the demon. An invisible dagger? It is also emitting the aura of a soul weapon. He can actually control 2 soul weapons at once? Tang Zheng was greatly shocked by this new information. He witnessed Yuan's Empyrean overlord yesterday, and the fact that Yuan is using a different soul weapon today could only mean that he has multiple soul weapons, which is incredibly rare even in the upper heavens. Whoosh! The invisible starry abyss flew at the artificial demon, and struck it directly between its eyes a split second later. The artificial demon fell to its knees the next second and remained there, which puzzled the spectators, as they wondered why the artificial demon wasn't standing back up. However, they would soon get their answer when the artificial demon began turning into stone at a rapid rate. A few seconds later, the artificial demon was completely sealed. What in heaven's name? Everyone there except Tang Zheng was shocked to witness Yuan sealing a demon with a single demon sealing strike. As expected of our little founder, his demon sealing aura is quite ridiculous for someone at his level. Maybe he's really the reincarnation of the divine paragon. Yanhara mumbled to herself in a low voice. Once Yuan sealed the demon, Senior Fu went to inspect the demon, and to her shock, the artificial demon was completely sealed, including its core, which renders the entire thing useless. All artificial demons have a core that allows it to function and gives them their regenerative ability, and this core was specifically made to resist demon sealing aura, so that it doesn't break every time someone seals the demon. However, Yuan's demon sealing aura had somehow managed to penetrate the core's defenses, and sealed it alongside the demon. This artificial demon is no longer usable. Senior Fu announced the results to Yanhara and Tangzheng, who wasn't surprised at all. As for Yanhara, she was dumbfounded and amazed at the same time. She has witnessed thousands of examinations, yet this is her first time encountering someone that has managed to destroy an artificial demon so thoroughly. Congratulations on passing your examination, Yuan. You're now officially an advanced demon sealer. Tangzheng said to him a moment later, breaking the awkward silence. Thank you. Yuan said. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Even though the examination was a little too easy, at least he gets to learn more demon sealing techniques. Come with me, little founder. We're going to get you your new badge. Yanhara suddenly grabbed Yuan and began pulling him away. Wait for me. Senior Fu quickly followed. Tangzheng shook his head with a bittersweet smile on his face, and he also followed them. Meanwhile, a new rumor began spreading around the Grand Library. Have you heard? There's a demon sealer who looks exactly like the founder of the demon sealing clan, and he managed to destroy an artificial demon. Huh? The Divine Paragon? It must be an exaggeration. It's not. A lot of people have seen him, and they all agreed that he looks just like Divine Paragon, albeit a lot younger. They even gave him the nickname Little Founder. I won't believe it until I see him with my own eyes. As for destroying an artificial demon, it's not really that impressive if you think about it. The artificial demons in the Grand Library are merely low-quality puppets. Most elite demon sealers can destroy them if they try hard enough. It may not seem impressive because I didn't mention his cultivation. The Little Founder is only a spirit lord, and he just became a demon sealer not long ago. Hell, he just passed his examination and became an advanced demon sealer. What? What is a spirit lord doing in the Grand Library? And he destroyed an artificial demon as an apprentice demon sealer? Now I definitely don't believe you. Suit yourself. This information is already spreading throughout the demon sealing clan, and even the demon sealing grotto. It will only be a matter of time before the higher-ups set their eyes on him. Even though he's already joined the demon sealing clan, it won't stop the demon sealing grotto from trying to snatch him from them, as it has happened multiple times before already. I cannot wait to see where this goes. While news of the Little Founder spread, Yuan received his advanced demon sealer badge. Little Founder, why are you not wearing your uniform? I want to see you in the demon sealing clan's uniform. Hurry up and change. Yanhara urged him afterward, sounding a little impatient for some reason. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 760. Published at 14th of February, 2022, 5:18 and 13 seconds p.m. Chapter 760. 760. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 760. The next Divine Paragon. Hurry up, Little Founder. I want to see you standing beside the Founder's statue, while in your uniform. Yanhara continued to urge him despite the weird looks he was giving her. Yuan, I suggest you give up and fulfill her wishes. She's one of the most stubborn people in this place, and she will bother you until you do it. Tangzheng patted him in the back and said. Of course, he also wanted to see Yuan standing beside the Founder's statue, so that they can get a side-by-side comparison. I just need to wear the uniform, right? I will do it under one condition. Yuan suddenly said. What condition? You will answer my question. That's easy. You can even ask for my 3 sizes and I want refuse. Yanhara said in a prideful voice. You're what? Yuan raised his eyebrows, as this is his first time hearing such a term. Tangzheng loudly cleared his throat and said. Ignore her teasing. Anyways, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them even if you don't fulfill her request. Please. I am begging you. Look. I will even get on my knees and beg. Yanhara began lowering her body. When Yuan saw this, his eyes widened, and he quickly said, Fine, I will do it. Don't you have any sense of shame, Yanhara? How can you beg in such a manner? To a junior, no less. Tangzheng shook his head. I won't do this just for anyone. You have no idea how I feel. She coldly snorted. Sometime later, Yuan left to change his clothes. When he returned, the three seniors were so surprised by his appearance that they had become speechless. After wearing the Demon Sealing Clan's uniform, Yuan's aura changed significantly, and he looked even more like the Divine Paragon. I cannot wait. Yenhara suddenly grabbed Yuan and flew directly to the area with the Divine Paragon statue. Tang Zheng and Senior Fu quickly followed. Once they arrived, Yenhara placed Yuan right beside the statue and said to him, "Stand right here for a minute." Okay. Yuan nodded in a dazed manner, feeling like he was being treated as some sort of toy. A sharp noise suddenly resounded in the area, causing everyone there to look at Yenhara, who had just screamed. They all wondered why she was screaming, but when they looked at Yuan, who she was staring at, they all understood why she had just screamed. Yenhara is a renowned Divine Paragon fanatic in the Grand Library, and seeing someone who looks so identical to the Divine Paragon while also standing right next to his statue, it was only natural that she would go crazy. In fact, when other fanatics saw Yuan standing right beside the Divine Paragon statue, they also screamed like fangirls. It's the Divine Paragon. What? No way. He's really here. Are you really the Divine Paragon? You look a little too young to be the founder. Are you by any chance his descendant? A crowd quickly gathered around Yuan and the statue, blocking Yenhara's view. Yenhara began fuming when these random people blocked her view, causing her to release a powerful pressure that also carried a hint of killing intent. Get away from him. If you're going to watch, do it where you're not blocking others' view. The people there quickly scattered away from Yuan when they heard Yenhara's angry voice and felt the threatening aura. However, they didn't completely leave the area and decided to watch from a distance. Is he a gift from the heavens? Or are they simply mocking us? Senior Fu mumbled in a dazed voice as she looked at Yuan's face and the Divine Paragon statue back and forth. And the longer she stared, the more she believed that they were the same person. I have heard of many rumors about doppelgangers, but I have never witnessed anything like that in my life until today. Tang Zheng sighed. Although he's a little young right now, in a few years he will look even more like the founder. When that happens, it will be as though the founder has returned to us. Yenhara spoke as tears flowed down her cheeks. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The place quickly filled with murmurs. Meanwhile, Yuan felt incredibly awkward. This situation made him recall his days in the Yu family, when he was admired by countless people. The way these people looked at him like he was their savior, it brought back bad memories. However, he didn't blame them, nor does he find any fault in their reaction, mostly because he was actually their founder. I have decided, Yenhara suddenly said. And she continued in a loud voice. I, Yenhara, will make it my life's mission to make you the next leader of the Demon Sealing Clan. What? Tang Zheng and the others looked at her with wide eyes after her bold declaration. Yenhara, I know you're excited and all because he looks like the founder, but you're going a little too far here. You should calm down and rethink this. Tang Zheng said to her. I am perfectly calm. In fact, I have never been any clearer. He has not only the looks but also the talents to become the next Divine Paragon. I am sure of that after witnessing everything today. Yenhara said. Tang Zheng could only shake his head at her words, as he knew that it was impossible to change her mind once she's in this kind of mood. Yenhara, I know your feelings, but it's not going to be an easy task. Senior Fu said to her. I know, but it's not like I have anything else better to do. I have been getting bored as a lecturer, anyway. She shrugged. Bored? You've only been a lecturer for 4 years. Senior Fu said. Who cares about such minor details? Yenhara laughed as she approached Yuan. Little founder, I have some good news for you. I, Yenhara, the most talented demon sealer in my generation, have decided to train you to become the next Divine Paragon. She stood before him while surrounded by a prideful aura. After hearing her words, Yuan only had one question for her. Why? He asked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 761. Published at 15th of February, 2022, 10:09 and 11 seconds p.m. Chapter 761. 761. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 761. Red Tyrant. Why? What do you mean why? Don't you want to become the best demon sealer in the 9 heavens? Yenhara looked at Yuan with wide eyes, almost as though she couldn't believe he'd even ask such a thing. And she continued, although I may not be the best demon sealer or the best teacher out there, I am definitely a renowned demon sealer with vast experience. I even killed 3 real demons before. If you study under me, I can guarantee you that you will become a great demon sealer. Only 3 demons? Yuan raised his eyebrows. Are you looking down on me? 3 demons may sound very little, but you must consider how demons are almost extinct. Most demon sealers nowadays have not even encountered 1 real demon, much less kill 3. Yenhara could see a hint of disappointment in Yuan's gaze and quickly defended herself. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Yuan quickly apologized when he realized that had just been disrespectful to her. Yuan was someone who had killed multiple demons, and his kill count was even higher than Yenhara, which he didn't expect as a newbie. However, just because he killed more demons than Yenhara did not mean he had more experience than her, and upon realizing this he gave it some serious thoughts. I will have to face 11 demons in the near future, so I should acquire as much experience as I can before then. After thinking about it for a moment, Yuan eventually nodded his head and said, okay, I will better myself as a demon sealer. However, I am not doing this because I want to become the next founder. I just want to be able to defeat demons if I ever come across them. Yenhara, who had been a little dejected, suddenly became elevated after hearing Yuan's words. Even though he doesn't have the aspiration to become the next divine paragon, it was more than enough for her that he wanted to study under her since he might change his mind in the future. Great! Starting today you are my disciple. Of course, it won't be anything formal. Yenhara said with a bright smile on her face. I understand, Senior Yen. Anyways, you had some questions, right? I can answer them now if you want. Yenhara said to him, not forgetting about his matters. Yes, I wanted to learn more about the demonic realm. Yuan said. The demonic realm? Yenhara looked at him with a questioning gaze. Although that place hasn't been relevant ever since the divine paragon sealed it, I guess it's good to learn about its history. Follow me. I will teach you everything you want to know about the demonic realm. Yuan nodded and followed Yenhara to this room that gave off the atmosphere of a library. Go wait over there for me. I will grab some ancient scrolls about the demonic realm. Yenhara pointed at an empty table in the room. Yuan walked to the table and proceeded to wait for her. A couple of minutes later, Yenhara returned and placed a couple of scrolls on the desk. All right, let's begin, shall we? Yes. Yuan nodded. Let's start with the beginning. Yenhara placed a scroll before him and opened it. The demonic realm was created by a demon known as the Red Tyrant, who was one of the most powerful demons back in the primordial era. After creating this demonic realm, the Red Tyrant made it his base, and it would quickly grow into a home for millions of demons. Visit Me for extra chapters. Eventually, this Red Tyrant would be known as the Demon God, who ruled over all demons and even humans to a certain extent for thousands of years. After learning about the demonic realm and the Red Tyrant, Yuan asked, I heard multiple times that demons used to rule the 9 heavens. What happened back then? How did demons even come into existence? Nobody really knows how demons came into existence, but there is a legend about the first demon appearing from a massive void that suddenly opened up in the starry sky. A void in the starry sky? Yuan raised his eyebrows. There are also rumors that this demon was the Red Tyrant, hence why he was so powerful, as he is the first demon. Once this demon showed up, almost like ghosts, demons began appearing around the 9 heavens, terrorizing the people there. Since nobody knew about demons and how to defeat them, these demons quickly conquered the 9 heavens with ease. Once that happened, humans were enslaved and became nothing more than playthings and food for these demons. The demons drank their blood, consumed their meat, chewed their bones, all sorts of horrifying things. Fortunately, almost as though the heavens sent him during the 9 heavens' darkest times, a certain individual created techniques that allow cultivators to finally fight back the demons, and that person was the Divine Paragon, founder of the Demon Sealing clan. Although times have changed and it may not seem like it anymore, the Divine Paragon was more than just a hero to many people. He was a savior and God that saved the 9 heavens. I see. Yuan mumbled in a dazed voice. I have underestimated the Divine Paragon. He's much more important and exalted than I'd expected. He sighed inwardly. He knew the Divine Paragon was someone important, but he didn't think the Divine Paragon was such a big shot in the divine heavens. Meanwhile, somewhere in the 5th heaven, the sky turned black, and a gaping hole appeared in the sky above the fairy paradise, shocking everybody there. Eventually, the people in the fairy paradise noticed a figure had appeared from the hole, and they watched as this figure slowly descended. Once this person had descended enough, the people in the fairy paradise could finally see this figure's appearance, and he was an old man with this unfathomable aura surrounding him. The master's presence lingers in this place. The old man mumbled in a profound voice as he stared at the fairy paradise beneath him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 762. Published at 15th of February, 2022, 10:09 and 10 seconds p.m. Chapter 762. 762. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 762. Immortal Fairy Empress. We have an emergency. A woman came running into the Fairy Empress room shortly after the gaping hole appeared above the fairy paradise. Calm down, I am aware, Fairy Empress said. However, despite her calm voice, her face had a huge frown on it, and she was anything but calm. What is this feeling? I feel an overwhelming presence coming from the hole. I have never experienced anything like this before. The Fairy Empress could feel her entire body shivering from fear when she felt this divine presence. All of you stay alert. I am going to see what's happening. That's too dangerous. You must stay here, Fairy Empress. Then do you want to go out there and investigate the hole for me? The Fairy Empress narrowed her eyes at the woman, who immediately closed her mouth and lowered her head, her answer clear. I thought so. Fairy Empress coldly sneered before flying out the window to approach the hole. However, just as she got close to the sky, she noticed a figure descending from this hole, and she immediately recognized that the divine presence she had been feeling this entire time was caused by this figure. An immortal. He's a true immortal. Fairy Empress cried inwardly as she realized his identity. Even though it was a guess, she had no doubt that this old man was an immortal that had reached an unfathomable level in the cultivation path. The Fairy Empress wanted to go up to the immortal and greet him, but she was also afraid to disturb him at the same time. Therefore, she could only hover in the sky and silently ponder whether she should approach him or not. While the Fairy Empress pondered, she suddenly felt a presence behind her, causing her to turn around. Fuck. The Fairy Empress cursed out loud when she was startled by the old man hovering behind her. When did he appear behind me? I didn't see him move at all, nor did I feel his presence until he allowed me to sense it. The Fairy Empress cried inwardly, as she has never been snuck up on like this before. Despite her shock, the Fairy Empress straightened her back before bowing to the old man. This junior greets senior. The old man looked at her with a nonchalant gaze as he spoke. I am looking for a certain individual. Do you have any descriptions of this person? Fairy Empress asked. I do not. Although she was a little baffled, the Fairy Empress didn't change her expression and continued to ask, Then do you know how we can find this person? I do not. The old man repeated. This left the Fairy Empress speechless. How are they supposed to find someone without any information? Is he messing with me? The Fairy Empress wondered inwardly. No, I am not messing with you, the old man suddenly said. The fairy empress was dumbfounded when he heard the old man's response, and she thought for a second that she had accidentally spoken out loud just now. Please forgive this junior. She quickly apologized to him while thinking to herself, did he just read my mind? And to her absolute surprise, the old man responded once again. No, I did not read your mind. He's definitely reading my mind. Once she realized this, Fairy Empress immediately cleared her mind and tried her best to not think about anything. Anyways, while I do not have any description about this person, he should be very easy to find, the old man said. Fairy Empress nodded and paid close attention to his next words. This person. He's very talented. He's definitely messing with me. The Fairy Empress cried inwardly. However, the old man said, I know you think I am messing with you, but I am not. This person, he's not your average genius. He's a once-in-lifetime genius. Also, he was only in this place for a brief moment not long ago. His surname should also be Tion. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Not long ago. Fairy Empress raised her eyebrows, and a certain individual appeared in her head. You don't tell me he's looking for the missing Dragon Emperor? Fairy Empress swallowed nervously when she recalled that the old man could read her mind. But to her surprise, he didn't say anything this time. Do you have someone in mind? The old man noticed her expression and asked her. Are you talking about the Dragon Emperor, by any chance? He appeared out of the blue a while ago and vanished just as suddenly. We're also looking for him. Dragon Emperor? Tell me more about him. The old man quickly said. The Fairy Empress nodded and began telling the old man about the Dragon Emperor without giving him all of the details, such as detaining him like a prisoner, as she was afraid that might offend this old man. He called himself Yuan, and he told us that had come to the fifth heaven by accident through a teleport formation. The royal dragon family took him to their household, but he disappeared shortly after. The royal dragon family. The old man suddenly turned to look in a certain direction. The next moment, the Fairy Empress watched as the old man disappeared in front of her like a ghost. She looked around, and once she was certain that he was gone, she released a relieved sigh before flying back to her palace. As for the old man, he went to give the royal dragon family a visit. I can sense his presence here as well. Did he really reincarnate into a dragon emperor? No. That shouldn't be possible. The old man mumbled to himself in a puzzled manner. The old man stopped pondering to himself and went inside the dragon royal family's household without knocking on the door. A moment later, he appeared inside the Dragon King's room. Once inside the room, the old man walked to the bed, where the Dragon King was resting. The old man stared at the Dragon King's sleeping face for a moment, before releasing a hint of killing intent. Motherfucker! The Dragon King jumped out of his bed the instant he sensed the killing intent that nearly gave him a heart attack. Of course, a hint of killing intent coming from an immortal would be more than enough to startle even a spirit emperor to death. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 763. Published at 16th of February, 2022, 6:09 and 14 seconds p.m. Chapter 763. 763. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 763. Heaven's mandate. After springing up from his bed, the Dragon King looked around in a confused look. What in the heaven's name was that killing intent just now? The Dragon King was left puzzled when there was nobody in his room. Did I have a nightmare because of my stress? I haven't been able to sleep properly since the Dragon Emperor disappeared, after all. The Dragon King released a deep sigh. However, just as the Dragon King laid back down on the bed, he heard a voice resound inside his room, and the voice sounded like it was responding to him. No, you're not dreaming. The Dragon King's eyes snapped wide open. And that's when he saw the old man standing beside his bed. Fuck. It's a ghost. The Dragon King screamed for his life. Ghost? Can a ghost do this? The old man suddenly released this divine aura that even though the Dragon King has never experienced before, he instinctively as a cultivator knew that this aura belonged to an immortal. I immortal? The Dragon King was even more shocked to learn that he had been woken up by an immortal than a ghost. I am looking for someone. Can you tell me more about this Dragon Emperor that you took to your household not long ago? The Dragon Emperor? It took a while for the Dragon King to process the situation, but when he eventually did, he immediately kowtowed on the bed and apologized. I'm sorry. The Dragon Emperor had disappeared in my home. We have been searching for him non-stop since his disappearance, but we haven't had any luck. The Dragon King mistook the old man as someone the royal dragon family had sent because the Dragon Emperor hasn't returned to his original home. Tell me, why do you call him the Dragon Emperor? And what does he look like? The old man asked the Dragon King, even though he already asked the Fairy Empress, as he wanted to confirm the information. Why? He was wearing an authentic pair of golden dragon robes. He had a dragon's spatial ring, and he can even use dragon's gaze. The Dragon King responded, and he continued. As for his appearance, he was a young man with long black hair and brown eyes. His face also looked pure and kind. The old man silently pondered. They say he's a Dragon Emperor, but that's only because of his treasures. It doesn't really prove that he's a Dragon Emperor. Anybody can acquire the golden dragon robe and the dragon spatial ring in the upper heavens if they really try. As for his dragon's gaze, the master and the dragon ancestor were like brothers. It wouldn't be weird at all if the dragon ancestor taught him dragon's gaze. You said this Dragon Emperor suddenly disappeared, is that correct? Yes, that is correct. I left him in one of our guest rooms to rest, and when I went to check on him later, he was already gone. And you have no idea where he could have gone? Unfortunately. We have searched everywhere, but we couldn't find him, almost as though he never existed in the first place. The Dragon King stopped talking when he suddenly realized the old man had disappeared. The Dragon King looked around the room, and to make sure the old man wasn't hiding somewhere to startle him again, he walked around the room, even checking his closets. He's really gone. Or maybe he was never here in the first place. Was I hallucinating this entire time? Fuck. I really need some rest. The Dragon King shook his head and went back to bed, quickly falling asleep. Meanwhile, the old man hovered above the dragon royal family without alerting a single soul there. As expected of the master, you're a hard one to find. I thought it would be easier this time, but alas. I would like to investigate a little more, but I am out of time. It won't be long before they arrive. The old man shook his head and disappeared from the fifth heavens the next moment, almost as though had never existed. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. An hour after the old man disappeared from the fifth heaven, the sky suddenly turned golden, and the world became illuminated by this holy light. A massive hole appeared in the sky once again, but it was much larger than the previous. The people of the fifth heaven were shocked by this scene, but what they witnessed next was completely out of their expectations. Fairy Empress. Look. There's so many people descending from the hole in the sky. My eyes are working just fine. The Fairy Empress frowned at the scene. In the sky, 1,000 figures wearing silver armor and standing in a formation appeared from the gaping hole. And they all emitted a heavenly aura that made people subconsciously revere them. There was also a person in front of these soldiers, who was clearly leading this 1,000-strong army. This person was holding onto a large flag that had the words Heaven's Mandate on it. And when people saw this flag, they all got onto their knees and lowered their heads, almost as though they were afraid to confront this flag. Heaven's Mandate? What in heaven's name is the Celestial Emperor's army doing in the fifth heaven? The Fairy Empress muttered to herself in a low voice after she recognized the flag. Even though this is her first time seeing these people, she knew who they were and what they represented at glance. In fact, this was the case for everyone in the fifth heaven. And as the Lord of the fifth heaven, the Fairy Empress was obligated to greet them. And that's exactly what she did after preparing herself. Greetings, Heaven's Mandate. I am the Lord of the fifth heaven, Fairy Empress. She bowed to them in a respectful manner. The man leading the army approached her and spoke in a cold voice. I am General Lee, and I am in charge of the third squad of the Heaven's Mandate. We have been tasked with capturing a dangerous criminal by the Celestial Emperor himself, and we have sensed his presence in this world not long ago. Dangerous criminal? The Fairy Empress raised her eyebrows, and for whatever reason, the old man appeared in her mind. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 764. Published at 16th of February, 2022, 6:09 and 13 seconds p.m. Chapter 764. 764. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 764. Stolen memories, you seem to know something, General Lee said when he noticed the Fairy Empress expression. You see, a gaping hole appeared in the sky above the fairy paradise that's right beneath us about an hour before your arrival, and an old man with an unfathomable aura descended from it. Before the Fairy Empress could even finish her sentence, General Lee exclaimed, "That's him. What did you two speak about?" And nothing much. He was looking for a certain individual, but he couldn't give any description or information about this individual. However, he did give me a surname, Tion. The Fairy Empress noticed General Lee's face twisting with fear after hearing her words, and she wondered what this was all about. To this Tion individual. Have you seen him? General Lee asked her after a moment of silence. I don't know. I did tell the old man about a certain individual I came across not long ago, and the old man appeared to be interested in him. Fairy Empress said. Who? Tell me everything you know about this person. There is only one person in the 9 heavens that would make that old man come out of his hiding so blatantly. He must have sensed this person's presence here. The Fairy Empress quickly opened her mouth to respond, but she didn't utter a single word even many moments later. General Lee raised his eyebrows in a puzzled manner. What's the matter, Fairy Empress? However, the Fairy Empress was just as puzzled as General Lee. I don't know. I can't remember for some reason. Fairy Empress responded in a dumbfounded voice. I know I have met this person before, but I cannot remember his face or our conversations. It's almost as though it had been wiped from my memories. Fairy Empress continued to explain her phenomenon. Despite Fairy Empress' crazy talk, General Lee did not seem to be angry at her. In fact, he had a look of understanding on his face. You just had your memories stolen by the old man, General Lee said, shocking the Fairy Empress. What do you mean I had my memories stolen? She asked. The old man has a forbidden technique that can steal one's memories. He usually surprises his victims before taking away their memories, as that makes it easier for him to steal your memories. General Lee explained to him. Fairy Empress' eyes widened with surprise upon learning about this information. Is this why the old man scared her by appearing behind her like a ghost? He did that to steal my memories? But I didn't even realize my memories had been stolen, and I probably would have never realized it if General Lee never told me. Why did he not steal my memories of him? Wouldn't that be more logical? Fairy Empress asked a moment later. Because he's arrogant like that. He is aware that we've been chasing him, and he purposefully allowed us to chase him. After a moment of silence, General Lee spoke in a solemn voice. The day the old man reunites with Tion, the 9 heavens will erupt with chaos. That's all I can say since that's all I know. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 765. Published at 19th of February, 2022, 11:18 and 10 seconds a.m. Chapter 765. 765. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 765. Within the 7th heaven, the 9 heavens will erupt with chaos? That sounds like a calamity I don't want to experience. The Dragon King muttered in a dazed voice. He could have never imagined how serious the situation was, and he couldn't fathom how an old man meeting with someone could possibly start a calamity in the 9 heavens. Anyways, I will speak with everyone that has encountered this person the old man wiped from their memories just in case they remember. General Lee said to the Dragon King. The Dragon King nodded his head and proceeded to send everyone that had encountered Yuan to speak with General Lee. In the end, all of them had their memories stolen from them. That old man stole our memories? How is that even possible? He never even got close to me. The victims were in disbelief after learning about it. The old man possesses an ancient technique that allows him to steal your memories. Although it loses its effects in the upper heavens, this technique works flawlessly against cultivators with inferior cultivation. Anyways, I have spent enough time here. I must return and report my findings to the Celestial Emperor. General Lee left the royal dragon family's household shortly after, and returned to the upper heavens with the rest of the heavens mandate. Meanwhile, somewhere in the upper heavens, the old man returned to the jade tablet and sighed. After looking at their memories of you, I am reminded of your brilliance during your prime days. Oh, how I wish I could watch you grow this time as well. But alas, it seems like fate is trying its hardest to keep me away from you. This must be those bastards doing. Unfortunately for them, not even fate can hold you down now. It will only be a matter of time before you return to us and seize the heaven that you rightfully own. The old man lowered his body until he was on his knees, and he kowtowed to the jade tablet in a revering manner, almost as though he was praying to his god. While all of this was happening, Yuan was listening to Yenhara talk about the demonic realm. And soon after the divine paragon sealed off the demonic realm, pretty much everyone had forgotten about it, as it was no longer of their concern. Any questions? Yenhara asked him. Just one. Yuan nodded and he continued to ask, where is the demonic realm right now? Where? Yenhara raised her eyebrows, wondering to herself why he wanted to know such information, as it sounded like he wanted to go there. It's located in the 7th heaven, and it's heavily guarded by the Demon Sealing clan, and the Demon Sealing grotto to make sure nobody messes with the seal. Why do you want to know? Do you want to visit the place? Yenhara had to ask him. Yuan didn't lie and confirmed her suspicions. Yes, I am a little interested in the demonic realm, and I was wondering if I could take a look at it. Unfortunately, only those at the top of the Demon Sealing clan are allowed to get close to the demonic realm. Anybody that tries to get close without permission, regardless of their identity, will be slain. The Demon Sealing clan takes the safety of the seal extremely seriously after all. If you really want to visit the place, you will need to increase your influence within the Demon Sealing clan. If you become the leader, you can go anywhere you want. Yenhara said with a suggestive smile on her face. You really want me to become the leader? Huh? Yuan couldn't help but smile at her stubbornness. If you become the leader, it will almost be like the divine paragon has returned, like living a historical event. I will think about it. Yuan sighed. Please do. Yenhara chuckled. Sometime later, Yuan asked Yenhara, now that I am an advanced demon sealer, can I take a look at the demon sealing techniques? Sure thing. Follow me. Yenhara stood up and brought Yuan to another room, where 12 jade tablets existed. Yuan immediately began looking through the tablets, and he realized that he recognized a couple of these techniques from his memories. As the creator of these techniques, he should recognize all of these techniques, but he only recovered a small portion of his memories, hence his situation. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I'm going to spend a few days here if you don't mind. Yuan turned to look at Yenhara. You can stay here for as long as you'd like. If you have any questions, I will always be here. Yenhara said. She then retrieved a jade slip from her spatial ring before handing it to him. This is my communication jade slip. Use this to contact me whenever you're in the Grand Library and have any questions. Thank you. Yuan accepted the jade slip. Then I will leave you alone for now, Yenhara said to him before leaving the place. Once he was left alone, Yuan sat before one of the jade tablets and began trying to comprehend the technique. While Yuan focused on the jade tablets, the other cultivators there would watch him from a distance. Isn't he the rumored little founder? I think so. He looks so much like the Divine Paragon statue. I thought it was a hoax, but now that I am seeing him with my own eyes, I feel a little foolish. The people in the room wanted to approach Yuan out of curiosity, but seeing how he was focused on the jade tablet, nobody bothered him. I heard he accepted Senior Yin as his lecturer? What a lucky one. Many people want to be taught by her, but she always refuses them. I think he is her first student. I would be surprised if she didn't accept him. Didn't you know that she's a huge Divine Paragon fanatic? Rumor has it that she's even part of some cult that treats the Divine Paragon as their god. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 766. Published at 21st of February, 2022, 5:09 and 32 seconds AM. Chapter 766. 766. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 766. Divine Paragon fanatics. A couple of days have passed since Yuan started studying the Divine Rank Demon Sealing techniques, and he has managed to learn all 12 techniques in this short time. It's almost time for me to visit the Qi family. Thankfully, I managed to learn all of these techniques before then. Yuan thought to himself as he prepared to leave. However, right as he prepared to log off, Yanhara showed up in the room and said to him, "Little founder, I want you to meet a few of my friends." Ha! Yuan turned to look at the entrance. And to his surprise, there was a small group of beautiful women being led by Yanhara. The moment these beautiful women laid their eyes on Yuan, they began screaming. The excitement type of scream. Wah! It's really him. I am having a hard time believing it even though he's standing right there. Heavens! He really looks like the Divine Paragon. I thought you were exaggerating, but alas! I'm sorry for doubting you, senior sister. The group of women quickly surrounded Yuan, and even started touching him as though he was a doll. Hey! I told you girls that you cannot touch him. Yanhara quickly intervened. Sorry, little founder. These girls are all big fans of the Divine Paragon, and they begged me to take them to you after they heard the rumors. It's all right, Yuan said with a stiff smile on his face. He wasn't unfamiliar with being idolized. In fact, he has been in even more crowded situations. Excuse me, little founder. Can I take a picture of you? One of the ladies there suddenly asked him. Huh? A picture? Yuan raised his eyebrows. He wondered how taking pictures work in this world. I will give you this treasure as a compensation. The woman then showed him a beautiful necklace that radiated with a profound aura. Whoa. Are you seriously going to trade that treasure for a picture, junior sister? Yuan silently stared at the necklace for a moment before shaking his head. It's fine, I don't need the treasure. It's just a picture, right? I will do it for free, Yuan said to her. Really? Thank you. Really? Thank you, little founder. The woman was ecstatic by the results. Please follow me, the woman said to him. Yuan nodded and followed her to the area with the Divine Paragon statue. Can you stand beside the statue and look in my direction? Sure. Once Yuan was standing beside the statue, the woman said, Now can you do this pose? Seeing her pose, Yuan placed his arms behind his back like a scholar. Great. Now give me the best smile you've got. Yuan pondered for a moment before putting a gentle smile on his face. That's perfect. Now stay like that for a few minutes. The woman suddenly retrieved a large piece of blank paper and a brush, and she quickly began drawing on the piece of paper, while staring at Yuan the entire time. This is what she meant by taking a picture? Yuan was dumbfounded by the results. He could have never predicted that she would start drawing him on the spot with a brush. About 15 minutes later, the woman finally stopped looking at Yuan to look at the result of her art. Perfect! The woman exclaimed in a trembling voice. She then turned the paper around to show Yuan her work, and to his absolute surprise, the art looked incredibly surreal, almost as though he was actually living inside the painting. What do you think? She asked him. I'm speechless. I have never seen such a beautiful painting before, and it only took you a few minutes to draw such a masterpiece. Yuan couldn't fathom it. The woman didn't change her brush during the entire process, so he expected the painting to be black and white, but when he saw the painting, it was vivid with colors. Visit Readle.me for extra chapters. You may not believe it, but she's actually a really famous painter within the 9 heavens. Yanhara said to him. There are many people out there that wish to be painted by her, and it would usually cost them an arm and leg. Yanhara chuckled. This is actually her first time seeing this woman willing to draw someone for free. In fact, she even wanted to pay to paint him. Anyways, I demand a copy of that painting, Sister Sunday. I am the reason you got that painting today, after all. Sister Sun nodded and said, Don't worry, I will make a copy for everyone in the family. Family? Your siblings? Yuan asked. Not that kind of family. Yanhara showed him a mysterious smile. Seeing her weird smile, Yuan figured that it would be for the best if he didn't ask about it. Little founder here. Sister Sun suddenly extended her hand to him. Yuan looked at the necklace in her hand and shook his head. I already said I don't need any payment. I know. This is not a payment. This is a gift to celebrate our encounter. That's all. Although Yuan was still reluctant to accept such a precious-looking treasure, he had to accept it when Sister Sun basically forced it into his hands. Thank you, Yuan said to her afterward. Sometime later, Yuan said to Yanhara, Senior, I will be away for a while. I don't know when I will return to this place. That's completely fine, but try to show up a month from now. There will be a competition amongst demon sealers. I will tell you more about it when the time comes. Okay. A month, right? I will be here. After speaking with the ladies for a couple more minutes, Yuan logged off Cultivation Online and began his preparations for his trip to the Qi family. Near the end of the day, the manager showed up to his house to notify him that they will be leaving tomorrow. Meet me in the front at sunrise, she said to him. I understand. Yuan acknowledged. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 767. Published at 21st of February, 2022, 5:09 and 31 seconds AM. Chapter 767. 767. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 767. Fearing for his life. By the way, how long will I be staying with the Qi family? Yuan asked the manager before she left. You can leave whenever you want, she said to him as she walked away. That night, Chu Liuxiang asked him, You'll be visiting my master's family tomorrow, right? Can I come with you? The Mountain Lord said that I should go alone since the Qi family doesn't like guests. Yuan said. How long will you be gone for? I'm not sure, but I will try to come back as soon as possible. Stay safe out there. The only one I need to be wary of is your master. I hope she doesn't hold a grudge after because I left her sealed. Yuan sighed. Master may be arrogant and a little hot-headed. She's not an unreasonable person. If you speak with her, I'm sure she'll forgive you. I hope so. Good night, darling. Good night. The following morning, Yuan met up with the manager, who was waiting at the front of his building in a luxurious red car. Get in the back, she said to him. Once Yuan was in the car, the manager took off and began driving down the mountain. However, the speed she was descending the mountain at was a little unnaturally fast. Yuan quickly realized that the manager was a reckless driver who would drift at even the slightest curve in the road, and she was basically speeding down the mountain at a ridiculous speed. Yuan has never really feared for his life outside of, but riding in the same car as the manager made him feel insecure about his safety, and he worried that they might die at any moment. Once they left the Dragon Spiral Mountain, Yuan expected the manager to slow down, but alas, she only sped up. Shouldn't you slow down a little? Yuan could no longer stay silent and said to her. Why? The manager said, dumbfounding him. Why? It's dangerous to be going this fast, not to mention illegal. We'll be fine, the manager said in a nonchalant manner before increasing the speed by 10 more miles. By now, they were going at least 140 miles per hour, and Yuan was prepared to jump out of the car at any moment. After a few minutes of this madness, Yuan could hear the sound of police sirens blaring from behind them. However, instead of stopping for the police, the manager actually increased the speed. She's crazy, Yuan cried inwardly. He never expected the manager to be such a lunatic, and he swore to himself that he would never sit in a car with her ever again as long as she was behind the wheels. The police sirens only got louder as more and more police cars appeared behind them, yet the car continued to zoom forward. Eventually, they arrived at a spacious lot that had a dozen airplanes and even private jets stationed. Once they arrived before a specific red jet, the manager finally stopped the car. The moment their car stopped, the police cars that had been chasing them immediately surrounded the car. "Get out of the vehicle with your hands up," one of the policemen shouted with a megaphone right in front of his mouth. "What now?" Yuan asked. The manager didn't respond to him and took out her own megaphone before speaking into it with a tranquil voice. "Why don't you idiots run the license already and get out of my way?" When the police heard her words, they immediately ran her car's license plate through their system. Once the results came in, the entire place turned dead silent. Yuan could see the police mumbling to each other, but he couldn't hear their words. Visit Readle.me for extra chapters. A few minutes later, the policeman with the megaphone spoke again, but he sounded more respectful this time. "There has been a misunderstanding. Please forgive us. We'll leave you alone right now." What? Yuan was baffled by the police's confusing response. He thought they were only playing along for the heck of it, but sure enough, the police returned to their cars before driving away as though nothing had happened. This is the influence of the Dragon Spiral Mountain, and as long as you live within the mountain, you represent us. Never forget this, the manager suddenly said to him. "You caused all of this chaos just to prove this point?" Yuan was utterly speechless. "No, this is how I normally drive." The manager then got out of the car and said to him, "Let's go." Yuan immediately frowned when he saw the manager walking towards the jet before them. "Don't tell me you're going to drive this plane as well?" he asked her while silently hoping that was not the case. "No, I am not." Yuan sighed a breath of relief after hearing her words, but he almost choked on air after hearing her next sentence. "You're going to be the one driving it. You want a blind man with no experience to drive a plane? Is this some kind of punishment you're giving me, because of what I did to the Chu family?" Yuan had a feeling that she was making things difficult for him on purpose as a way to punish him. "I have no idea what you're talking about. As for driving the plane, even a 10-year-old can do it. Hurry up and get on the plane already. We're going to be late at this rate," the manager said as she entered the plane. "What about your car? Just leave it there. Somebody will take care of it later," she said. Once they were both inside the plane, the manager shut the door and led him to the cockpit. She pointed at the obvious red button and said, "Just press that button, and the plane will enter autopilot. I am going to sleep, so you're going to watch the plane. Don't press anything else unless you want to crash the plane." And without explaining anything else, the manager went to one of the rooms in the back to sleep, leaving Yuan alone and dumbfounded in the cockpit. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 768. Published at 21st of February, 2022, 6:18 and 6 seconds AM. Chapter 768. 768. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 768. Chi family. After staring at the red button for a few minutes, Yuan eventually gave up and pressed it, his fingers trembling while doing so. Immediately after pressing the button, the plane began to move, and Yuan watched as the plane turned towards the flight path and started moving without needing him to do anything. A few moments later, they were in the air. Seeing that they were flying without any problems, Yuan released a sigh of relief, but even then he could not leave the cockpit unattended, so he sat in one of the two chairs and proceeded to just enjoy the scenery with his divine sense. Of course, since he was using divine sense, he was able to see the manager sleeping peacefully inside her room. She really went to sleep. He thought she was only saying that to mess with him, but turns out she was telling the truth. And while he sat in the cockpit, Yuan would use this time to continue trying to learn technique transmission. 8 hours later, Yuan noticed the plane tilting downwards. It's descending? This should mean we're close to the Qi family. Half an hour later, the plane landed itself on a medium-sized island surrounded by water. The Qi family really lives on an island. Sometime later, Yuan left the cockpit and went to knock on the manager's door. Manager, we have arrived. However, the manager remained sleeping inside. Yuan knocked on the door a couple more times before going into her room and shaking her awake. Manager, wake up. We have landed. The manager sat up on the bed with a drowsy expression and saliva drooling from her mouth. She stared at Yuan for a moment before snapping out of her daze and shouting with a flushed face, "Ji, get out! I will be with you later." "All right," Yuan said with a smile on his face, which only made the manager's face flush even more. After leaving the plane, Yuan waited for the manager, who showed up 5 minutes later with a cold expression on her face, and she looked more angry than normal. "Follow me," she said as she walked ahead. Meanwhile, a few miles ahead, the Qi family was preparing for the meeting. "Qi Feng, come with us. There's going to be a meeting with the manager of the Dragon Spiral Mountain soon. Apparently, the Lord wants us to work with someone to deal with the demons in the mountain," an old man said to a beautiful woman when he encountered her in the hallways. "Okay." Qi Feng nodded, and she followed him into the meeting room. Once they were seated, Qi Feng said, "I know the 11 demons within the Dragon Spiral Mountain is a calamity waiting to happen, but we should deal with our own problem before we help others. I know what you're thinking, but we're also receiving help from him. This person they're sending here, he will assist us with our problem. Who is this person anyway?" The Lord didn't give any specifics, but he did guarantee us that he's very experienced with demons. Experience with demons? Qi Feng frowned upon hearing this. "I swear to God if it's that bastard." Meanwhile, after walking for about half an hour, Yuan and the manager arrived before the Qi family's household. Once they were at the front gate, the manager rang the bell and waited for a response. A few moments later, a middle-aged woman wearing traditional clothing showed up to open the gate. "Welcome to the Qi family, manager. The elders are expecting your presence in the meeting room." The manager and Yuan entered the estate and followed the middle-aged woman to a medium-sized building shaped like a pavilion beside the main household. The middle-aged woman knocked on the door and said out loud, "Elders, the manager and her friend have arrived. Let them in." A voice quickly responded. The middle-aged woman opened the door and gestured for them to enter. Once they entered the building, Yuan immediately felt an unpleasant gaze directed at him. And when he looked at this person giving him the glares, it was a familiar face. Visit Riedel. Me for extra chapters. Sure enough, it was Senior Qi, who was also known as Qi Feng. "Welcome, manager and little friend." An old man stood up and greeted them with clasped hands. Yuan returned his greetings and said, "Good morning, my name is Yuan." "Yuan, the one who assisted the 6 spiritual families in subjugating the demon? I heard about you. I didn't think you would be the one coming here today." The old woman sitting beside the old man said. "By the way, I am Qi Huan," she added. "I'm Qi Man, retired patriarch of the Qi family." The old man said, "Qi Feng." Senior Qi said in a low voice, "HM. What's the matter, Qier? Why do you have a frown on your face?" Qi Man asked her. "It's nothing." Qi Feng stopped frowning the next moment. Nobody in the Qi family was aware of her fight with Yuan, as it was too embarrassing for her to admit that she'd lost to a junior like him. "Anyways, have a seat." Qi Huan pointed at the chairs. Once they sat down, the manager said, "As the Lord has promised, Yuan will help you with your problem. In return, you will help us with our problem." "Of course. If he can really assist us, We will spare no effort dealing with your demons. Huh? You never told me anything about helping them, Yuan suddenly said. You didn't? The Qi family turned to look at the manager with raised eyebrows. I forgot, said the manager in a calm voice. She then turned to look at Yuan and continued. You will be helping them kill a demon. What? Yuan exclaimed. He thought he came here to make friends with the Qi family, not kill demons for them. Furthermore, why would they need his help when they are all demon sealers themselves? It made no sense. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 769. Published at 23rd of February, 2022, for 09 and 15 seconds p.m. Chapter 769. 769. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 769. Entering seclusion. Wait a second. Why do you need my help killing a demon? Aren't you guys a demon sealing clan? If you need my help killing your demon, how will you help us with our 11 demons? Yuan asked them what was on his mind. I understand your confusion, so allow me to explain it to you, Qi Man said. And he continued. Although we are indeed a family that has dedicated itself to dealing with demons since ancient times, we do not actually have the capability to kill demons, only prolong their seal. There is a powerful demon that is currently sealed on this island, but its seal is getting weaker. We have been resealing this demon since ancient times, and it has gotten to the point where our techniques are no longer effective on it, so it will eventually break out of its seal and kill us all. And it is only a matter of time before it happens. We heard rumors that the 6 spiritual families had managed to kill a demon, but we do not entirely believe such a rumor. After all, the 6 spiritual families do not have the capability to seal demons, much less kill them. Since you were there, can you enlighten us on how such a thing happened? We tried asking them about it, but they refused to tell us the truth. After a moment of silence, Yuan said, because I was the one who killed the demon, and they hid the fact to protect me. The room immediately fell silent. Qi Fong already knew this fact, but her grandparents were hearing this information for the first time, so they wore shocked expressions on their faces afterward. Why you killed the demon? How? Qi Man eventually snapped out of his daze to ask. Sorry, it's not that I don't want to tell you, I just don't know how to explain it. Yuan shook his head. The old couples exchanged looks with each other. After a moment of silence, Qi Man stood up and said, Follow me. I will show you the demon. Yuan nodded and followed them outside. After following this narrow path to an open area, Yuan could see over a dozen people guarding this large tree on a small hill. When they got close, the guards greeted the old couple. Let us through. My friend here would like to see the demon, Qi Man said. The guards turned to look at Yuan and nodded silently, not that they had any choice. Once they were on the hill, Qi Man pointed at the tree and said, There is a demon sealed within this tree. Go around it and you should see it. Yuan nodded and walked around this tree, and sure enough, he could see a hideous-looking demon with a bulky body coexisting with this tree. Dong. The moment Yuan approached this demon, the entire island began shaking. It won't be long before this demon breaks out of its seal. This is already the 4th earthquake this month. Qi Huan sighed. Do you think you can kill it without breaking it out of its seal? Qi Man asked him. In order to kill a demon, you must separate its core with the body or destroy the demon faster than it can regenerate. Yuan said. Since it's sealed, I won't be able to extract its core without breaking it out of the seal. As for the second method, I'm not sure I am capable of killing a demon, but I can try. Really? Does this mean you'll help us? Qi Huan asked him. I will help you if you accept one of my conditions. What condition? I get to keep its demon core after killing it. Demon core? Qi Man raised his eyebrows. This is his first time hearing about such a thing. If you kill the demon, it's only natural that you get whatever it leaves behind. Okay. I will need to prepare first. Yuan said. Whatever you need, my chief family will supply it. I don't need anything. Only time and a place where I cannot be disturbed. After all, he only needed to learn the heaven-splitting sword strike to kill the demon. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I know the perfect place. Follow me. Yuan then followed Chi Man back down the hill, and onto another path, which led him to a large cave. Immortal caves? Yuan raised his eyebrows. That's right. This is our chief family's immortal caves. The spiritual energy here is the best, and you won't be disturbed by anybody. How long do you think you will need to prepare? Chi Man then asked. A week to be safe. I understand. Chi Man nodded. Yuan then turned to the manager and asked her, can you let my friends back at home know about the situation? I don't want them to worry when I don't return even after a week. The manager silently nodded. Thank you. Yuan entered one of the available immortal caves shortly after, and went into seclusion to learn the heaven-splitting sword strike. Once Yuan went into seclusion, the chief family and the manager returned to the household. Do you really think he is capable of killing the demon? He looks too young. Chi Huan expressed her worries to the manager. After a moment of silence, the manager said, I don't know, but the Lord seems to believe in his abilities. Well, I think he's a lot more capable than he appears. Chi Fong suddenly said. The old couple turned to look at her and said, You have been acting weird all day long. Do you by any chance know that boy? Chi Fang's eyebrows twitched after hearing their words, and after releasing a deep sigh, she decided to tell them the truth, at least some of it. Yes, I know him. We met very briefly at the Chu family, and we had an exchange with each other. It was during that time that I experienced for myself a little of what he's capable of, and he's a lot stronger than he looks. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 770. Published at 23rd of February, 2022, for 09 and 14 seconds p.m. Chapter 770. 770. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 770. I will handle it. After speaking with the Chi family, the manager called Mixia's phone to let her know about the situation. Hello. This is the manager of the Dragon Spiral Mountain. Is this Mixia's phone number? Yes, this is Meishio speaking. Did something happen to Yuan? Meishio quickly asked about Yuan. No, I am just calling to let you know that he will be staying at the Chi family for a little longer than anticipated. I understand. Can I speak to him? Meishio asked after a moment of silence. Unfortunately, he's currently in seclusion, so he will not be able to speak with you. Wait. What do you mean by that? Why is he in seclusion? The manager proceeded to explain the whole situation to Meishio. He's going to fight a demon. Mixia's anxious voice resounded after hearing everything. Not exactly. He's going to exterminate a sealed demon. How is that any different? Meishio frowned. Does it really matter? In the end, he agreed to it. How long will this take? About a week, said the manager. I understand. I will tell the others. Just make sure he's safe. As much as I hate that idea, it is my job as the manager of the Dragon Spiral Mountain to keep its residents safe, no matter how much I dislike that resident. Once the connection stopped, Meishio went to notify the others about the situation while the manager and the Chi family waited for Yuan to emerge from his seclusion. A week passed by in a flash, and during this time the island shook 3 more times. Is he coming out of his seclusion anytime soon? It's already been a week, and the demon is showing signs of unsealing. Chi Fong complained as she stood in front of Yuan's immortal cave with the others. You know what? I think we should go inside and see what the hell is taking him so long. We don't have any more time. Just as Chi Fong began approaching the immortal cave, a figure emerged from the cave entrance. Took you long enough. I sincerely hope that you're fully prepared. It's been a week. Chi Fong said to Yuan, who just finished his seclusion. Sorry it took longer than expected. Yuan said. Since the heaven-splitting sword strike is actually part of another divine rank technique, He had to improve his heaven's secret art first, which is harder than learning even an ancient rank technique. I am ready to kill the demon. Let's go. Yuan then said. Sometime later, they arrived at the tree on the hill. So, how are you going to exterminate it? Chi-Man asked once they were standing in front of the sealed demon that had cracks appearing all over its body. I am going to destroy it using my technique. Technique? A demon sealing technique? No, it's a powerful technique that can obliterate everything in its path. I have killed a demon before using this technique. Yuan said. Stay back. I don't want anybody to be caught up in the blast. Once everybody was at a safe distance, Yuan summoned the Empyrean Overlord and started gathering all of the spiritual energy in the air. What the heck is he doing? Qi Feng mumbled in a low voice. I don't know, but whatever he's doing, it's going to be big and powerful. The manager said in a dazed voice. She has never seen such a massive amount of spiritual energy gathered in one spot before. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Yuan took his time gathering as much spiritual energy as he could since he didn't want to take any chances with this bulky demon. While Yuan gathered his strength, the island began shaking again. The demon. It's pulsating with light. Qi Huan pointed at the demon in the tree that was glowing red in a heartbeat rhythm. This is the closest they have seen a demon being unsealed, and they were getting goosebumps all over their bodies. A few minutes later, Yuan was finally finished with charging his strike. After taking a deep breath, Yuan swung his sword and released all of the spiritual energies that he had gathered, shooting a bright beam of light at the sealed demon. Boom! The beam consumed the entire tree and most of the hill, instantly evaporating it. This shocked the Qi family and the manager, as they have never seen anything this destructive before. It's just like a nuclear weapon. Chi-Man mumbled in a dazed voice. Yuan fell to his knees and began gasping for air after releasing the heaven-splitting sword strike, feeling as though half of his energy had been drained from that one attack. However, before he could even catch his breath, he suddenly heard Qi Fang's screaming voice. Yuan! In front of you! Yuan immediately used his divine sense to look at the scene before him. And to his absolute shock and horror, there was a glob of red slimy substance on the ground that was moving around as though it was alive. I didn't manage to kill it? Did I not use enough spiritual energy? No. I used even more than the last time. This demon must be far stronger than the one in the mystic realm. Yuan turned to look at the Qi family and shouted at them. Leave this place immediately. I will handle the demon. Are you sure? We can assist you, Qi Feng said out loud. I am sure. Just leave. I will handle it. Trust me. Qi Feng looked at the others and they all nodded at each other before leaving the place to alert the others. Shortly after the others left, the red substance started forming into a large, bulky figure, and in just a few moments, it managed to completely recover, becoming a full demon again. It silently stared at Yuan with a calm expression for a moment before showing an ugly smile on its face. That hurt like hell, human. You're going to pay for waking this Supreme One up in such a rude fashion. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 771. Published at 26th of February, 2022, 10:39 and 9 seconds AM. Chapter 771. 771. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 771. Toying with the demon. I thought you demons couldn't feel pain. Yuan said to the demon in a calm voice after hearing its words. And calling yourself the Supreme One when you're just a lowly demon that had been sealed for heaven knows how long. You're full of it. Oh, you not only dare to speak back to me but also mock me? Since when have humans become so brave? The grin on the demon's face grew wider, and its bloodlust and aura continued to rise. It only has the strength of a spirit grandmaster. How did it survive my heaven-splitting sword strike? And it looks slightly different compared to the other demons I have encountered so far. Yuan wondered to himself. Furthermore, demons would normally get angry at the slightest provocation. Yet this demon managed to remain calm despite Yuan's mockery. There was just something different about this demon. The demon looked at its surroundings and asked, "How long have I been sealed? And where am I?" "You're asking the wrong person. And even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. Is that so? Then I have no reason to keep you alive any longer. I will kill you and find someone else to entertain me. And then I will replenish my strength by eating everyone in this place." The demon stretched its thick neck left and right as it slowly approached Yuan in a menacing manner. Once it was halfway to Yuan, it suddenly disappeared from its spot. Yuan quickly raised the Empyrean Overlord in front of him in a defensive manner, and the next second, he was sent flying backward by a powerful strike from the demon. "You managed to block my strike? Even though my strength has diminished greatly after being sealed for so long, it's still very impressive. This is going to be fun." The bulky demon laughed out loud. "This demon is strong." Yuan quickly stabilized himself after being sent flying. However, he wasn't feeling worried even in the slightest. In fact, he was even a little excited. Even though the artificial demons are very useful, they cannot compare to real demons. "I'm going to take this chance to practice with a real demon." Yuan could have sealed the demon while it was still recovering. However, he purposefully allowed the demon to fully recover just so he could use it as a training puppet. It was an incredibly selfish and risky thing to do, as it could backfire on him and the Qi family, but Yuan went ahead and risked it anyway for some reason. Yuan began approaching the demon and said, "If you don't hurry up and kill me, I will seal you again, and this time, you won't be able to escape ever again." The bulky demon's muscles began moving around like there were live worms in its body after hearing Yuan's words that had clearly affected it. "You just gave me another reason to kill you." The demon suddenly disappeared from its spot again, but it did not escape from Yuan's divine sense. Ha! Yuan turned around and swung the Empyrean Overlord with incredible force. The demon that had just appeared behind him subconsciously blocked the strike with its bare arms. The Empyrean Overlord tore right through the demon's arms and severed them before sending the demon's body flying into the distance. "Ha ha ha! Not bad. Not bad at all." The demon laughed as its body clashed into dozens of trees. Once it regained its footing, the demon leaped into the air and began throwing spears made out of its blood at Yuan. "Seal!" Yuan roared, and a powerful ripple of demon sealing aura swept the scene, instantly halting the blood spears midair and turning them into stone. Feeling slight stiffness in its body, the demon frowned, and it stopped taking the situation lightly and saw Yuan as a real threat. Meanwhile, Qi Feng stopped running after a few minutes. "Why are you stopping?" Qi Huan asked her. Qi Feng frowned and said, "This doesn't feel right at all. Why do we have to run like some coward? We are the Qi family. I am not going to let him fight the demon alone. I have been training for this day even before I could start walking. You guys can go ahead and go back to the Qi family. I am going to go help him. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters." And without waiting for a response, Qi Feng began running back the way she came from. "I will go after her," the manager said to the old couple before chasing after Qi Feng. "Shit." Qi Man cursed out loud before turning to look at the guards that guarded the sealed demons before and continued, "Go back and warn the family. We cannot let a guest do our jobs for us." "Yes. I will come with you," Qi Huan said to him, and they also started running back to the hill. However, when they returned to the hill, they were shocked to see the destruction that had ravaged the place. Most of the trees there were either destroyed or burned, and there were many holes and even ground fissures as far as their eyes could see. How the hell did they manage to cause such destruction in just a few minutes? Qi Feng cried out loud when she saw the scenery. Boom. The earth shook with loud noises that sounded like thunder every few seconds, but it was not an earthquake and the sky was as clear as it could be. "They're over there." Qi Man suddenly pointed to two figures fighting in the distance. However, when they looked closely, they realized that it was not even a fight at all, but a one-sided beatdown. Heavens! He really didn't need our help. Qi Huan mumbled in a dazed voice as she watched Yuan toss the demon around with his giant sword. Yuan's attacks were so relentless and fierce that the demon could barely react to them. And when the demon would try to retaliate, he would seal the demon's body just enough so that it could not move without completely sealing it. This bastard. He's toying with the demon. Qi Fong was in disbelief. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.